Okay, guys, we're back with another exciting video. Basically, my wife is preparing for us to leave on our, really fun vacation. It was a really fun time, and I don't want to help her, so I'm going to work. So, Andrew Tate gave us his final message right here. Aiden Ross pushed it out right here. Aiden hit me and told me to tell everyone his last message. Sorry, I'm blind. To the world. So Andrew Tate's last message to the internet. Here it is. It's on a different website, but about 500 different people uploaded it onto YouTube. So we're obviously just gonna listen to it from there. So here's the thing. You guys already know I'm not a big fan of Andrew Tate. I think his ideology is bad. It's not teaching young men to be good young men. Frankly, I think he kind of preys on the insecurities of a lot of men who are kind of misguided, and that's probably due to a broken system overall, really. Little rain, a little spooky. Thunder, actually. Anyway, I still don't think he should have gotten banned, to be absolutely honest with you. I know people are upset about that. You can watch my reaction to Daz's video. It was a good video. He made a good video, but frankly, I know a lot of people will reference some of the allegations against him. I go into depth on that. I just don't feel like talking about it. That'll be another half hour of a video if I do it here. So if you actually are interested, I've gone through everything multiple times, but that one's the most recent. Be my guest to check it out if you want. If you're not interested in doing that, then stop complaining. Anyway, with his ban happening, he got picked up by Tucker Carlson. And this is probably the biggest thing that I have a fear on. So, and it's this idea of this conspiracy-esque thing where, they're trying to censor us off, anyone from speaking. And now Tucker's picking it up. It could snowball. It might end here. Tucker's a joke, but you never really know. That's why I think you're better off engaging with the ideology. And frankly, I think that a lot more people are finding Red Pill to be pathetic, loser nonsense as we talk about it more. And a lot of these people are being considered lol cows now. Your Tucker Carlson's, well, yes, Tucker Carlson, but I didn't mean him. I meant Andrew Tate and Sneeko. They really are kind of like memes at this point. They embarrass themselves on a daily basis when they talk about content. So anyway, let's just get into the video. Let's see. I want to get my.
I was thinking for a long time how to start this video.
Okay.
Because it needs to be concise and compendious.
Well, it's an hour and 13 minutes, so it's not very concise.
But I also want it to be very, very comprehensive. And I guess the best place to start is at the beginning. There's been many different versions of my life story, which have been put on the internet as of late and from many years ago.
I wanted to say one thing with the Hustlers University. So apparently he took that down in the midst of all this. Huge red flag. Why he would personally, my understanding is there's no, it's not like somebody took him down or anything, or everybody was saying the same thing. So it's some kind of a multi-level marketing scheme where it tries to funnel money up to the top and preys on a bunch of people who there's you can make money doing this, and then you don't. But he took it down when all this hit, and that's a huge red flag I really think for everybody should be like, yeah, that's suspicious, right? Why would he pull that down? So. Him getting banned off these platforms, I don't think he was banned. I mean, I don't think he was banned in that way. He took it down himself. It's a really big suspicion. It's just very suspicious.
I'm going to give a very, very quick overview of my story.
Okay.
My life has always been difficult. I've certainly had a difficult life. I preach.
Okay, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but you said you wanted to be concise. My life, this isn't concise.
My life has always been difficult. I've certainly had a difficult life.
Those are that's the same sentence in two different ways. You know what I mean? You're not being very concise. It's just kind of funny that you kind of started this off with a word salad of saying a bunch of words that didn't really need to be said, while saying, "Hey, I'm trying to be concise. This is not concise. This is going to be like somebody trying to write a 10-page essay, but only having 4 pages worth of content."
I preach to the people who follow me that as a man, trauma and difficulty is extremely important because it's the building blocks for mental fortitude and physical fortitude. So I'm very, very happy that my life is...
Can be, for sure. I think for most people, it kind of breaks them down. I think that people overcoming struggles is a really good thing because it builds a lot of character, but there's only so much struggle that some people can take on. I'm just bringing it up because I know there's going to be some that speaks a little bit to the concept of pick yourself up by your bootstraps. We can only overcome so much as individuals, and some people respond to it better. Andrew may have responded to it great. Most people just get beaten down by the world if they have too much to overcome. but okay.
It's been difficult because it's impossible to become a capable man or a man of my capability without struggling with facing serious adversities, without trying to overcome often insurmountable odds. I grew up in south side of Chicago. I'm obviously a person of color. I was bullied in school to a degree, and my father always taught me to stick up for myself. I was never allowed to run and cry to authority. I was told that if someone wants to mess with you or come at you, you can't always go tell the teacher. Sometimes you have to deal with it. I was actually picked on by these two kids when I was riding the school bus home. I think I was around 5 and they were around 7. They were a bit older than me, and they used to pick on me on the school bus. They'd sit behind me, throw things at me, hit me, etc. And I came home and I told my dad about it. I said, Dad, these 2 kids are picking on me every single time I get the school bus. I don't know what to do. And my dad said, I'm not going to call the teacher because the teacher ain't on the bus. And I'm not going to call the school bus driver because they're busy driving. Son, if you want to deal with this, you're going to have to deal with it yourself.
Oh, okay.
And I said, but Dad...
That's interesting, but you probably should just tell the school, and the school will take care of it. Although this was a bit of a time ago, so maybe things are different, but you could just call the school. And nowadays they can look at the cameras and see what's going on and, operate accordingly.
They're bigger than me. What do you want me to do? There's 2 of them and they're bigger than me. And at the time, I'd just come home from school and I was holding a lunchbox. And my dad pointed and said, you have a lunchbox, son? Teach them. So weeks had passed. It was a few weeks. They kept picking on me, and I felt myself sitting there getting more insecure, and the rage was boiling inside of me. And one day, one of them slapped me in the side of the face from behind. I was sitting on the chair. He slapped me in the face from behind.
Okay.
And instantly, I don't know what it was, but this was the day I had enough. And I turned with my lunchbox and swung it over the back of the school bus chair and caught him and busted his eye clean open. The plastic Batman lunchbox.
What is this editing? Okay.
Hit him in the eye, and blood started squirting everywhere. All the children started screaming.
Listen, I know that there's a lot of weird stories about Andrew Tate on the internet. This just doesn't really. Why would a plastic lunchbox do that unless it was super sharp? Maybe it was, but this just kind of seems like a weird story that's kind of fabricated. I'm not saying that he didn't actually go to hit the guy, or the kid, but maybe it's a little dramatized. But okay, let's keep this.
And as I did this, the bus had just come up to a stop. It was a few stops before my stop, but it had stopped.
Who edited this?
And as the bus stopped and the screaming happened, I just got up and I ran off the bus. Okay. Ran home. I've never run so fast or so far in my life. I was full of adrenaline. I just ran. When I got home, I had blood on my clothes, and my dad looked at me. He said, what happened? And I said,
Bro,
that kid, I won't say his name. I said his name at the time. I said, that kid, he hit me in the face, and I had enough of getting hit in the face.
And your dad gave me a beer.
And I was still holding.
Your dad gave you a beer, and you turned it into Andrew Tate?
The lunchbox. But it was all smashed up where I'd hit him with it.
What?
And my dad kind of smiled a little bit.
This doesn't really make sense to me. Why would the hard plastic lunchbox be all smashed up? Wouldn't it just be covered in blood? This story just is weird.
I said, don't worry, son. Get in the car. We got in the car and we went to Walmart. We walked up and down the aisle.
Okay.
And he looked and picked up another lunchbox, an exact replica of the same blue Batman lunchbox.
Wow.
Gave it to me and said, I'll buy you as many of these as you need. And that was the last we spoke of it. Funnily enough, I never saw that kid again. I don't know if he changed schools. I don't know what his parents did. But I never saw that child again.
What do you mean this doesn't make sense to me? What do you mean you never saw the kid again? This doesn't make sense. The kid disappeared? I just don't think this is realistic. You hit a kid and there was no disciplinary action. Okay, I guess I'll buy that. But then the kid disappeared forever? You just never saw him again? What about his friend? I'm confused.
Again. So, even from a very, very young age,
this just doesn't seem like a real story to me. It's just like there's so many weird moments. But okay.
Going to authority and crying and hoping someone else is going to fix your problems is not the way a man should conduct himself. When I left Chicago, I moved to Luton, England, which was multiple times voted the worst town in England. It's a high crime rate. It's a very bad area. My mother and father broke up, so I was in a single mother household. And now I'm a person of color in a single mother household. I'm also the only American at the time in Luton. And I had, again, repeat problems in school. I was picked on for being the only American. I was picked on for not knowing things I should have known because I hadn't been through the English educational system. I'd been through the American educational system. And I had trouble in school again, but I stuck up for myself. Unfortunately, nothing got violent at any point. When people made fun of me, I stood up and said, listen, don't make fun of me. I'm from a different place, and I talk differently. And I always understood that standing up for yourself, I never went to the teacher, I never cried to anybody else. I just stood up for myself. And over time, people learned respect for me and my boundaries, and they were very respectful of me. And I had...
It was a little ironic, but okay. Talk about boundary respect. Okay.
A very positive experience from then on out in school by simply standing up for myself, because this is how I was taught to act. In high school, I ended up having a reputation of a guy that nobody really messed with. I certainly wasn't a bully, absolutely the opposite, but no one really picked on me. I actually had a friend in school who was gay. I had 5 main friends in school, and I was also friends with a gay guy. And
Cool.
he would make fun of me.
You know what's really interesting is that like I've seen Andrew Tate talk, and maybe I'm just not familiar enough with him, but I've never seen him talk about his like him being bi. Like he mentioned that like his dad was black like one time, but it seems like he's kind of playing it up a little bit in this video. He said like 2 or 3 times. I've never seen him use identities as much. I'm not saying it's like a bad thing. He might just be giving context, but it's I don't know. Okay, maybe it's just something I noticed. Just bringing it up.
For being American. And I would make fun of him for being gay back then. But the world was a very, very different place. This is many, many years ago.
Well, people still do that all the time. I make fun of people in my real life for being gay. I don't care. They make fun of me too. Like we don't care. This is actually still very normal if you don't exist on the internet, like terminally. People still have fun with each other. In fact, you'll never find a better friend than somebody that you could. That you could be like bigoted towards. I'm not just being honest. You know, like especially with guys. I don't know if this is a girl thing, but for guys, 2 dudes like just being pieces of shit to each other, very normal behavior. Best friends you're ever gonna make. I'm just being honest with you. It obviously has to be like a consensual thing. You shouldn't be doing that to just randoms on the street, but those are the most fun.
And we had friendly banter back and forth, but we were very good friends. And I stuck up for him and prevented anyone else picking on him all of the time.
All right.
And the banter between us, the locker room talk, which would be considered absolutely unacceptable today, at the time was very, very normal. And we had a great time. We were good friends. And I heard from him.
Again, I just want you guys to know, like, I just feel like locker room talk hasn't really changed. The internet is a really weird place where a lot of people want to, police your like interpersonal relationships with people in like weird ways. But like the internet's very disconnected from society. I think that like it's getting closer, I guess. But like for the most part, people are still real pieces of shit to each other, and it's good. I like it. It's fun. You know, we should obviously get rid of like actual real racism and shit, and bigotry and whatnot. But people still have fun with each other. They make fun of each other. Like, who cares? That's how. I guess you'd call it like code switching. Like people act differently with like their friends, and they're going to act then with like their parents or with the internet or with their teacher at school. You know, you just like need to know when you should be doing like weird shit with each other, as long as everybody's like it's as long as it's not actually like bad. But like people all the time like, oh, you fat fuck. Like if you're friends with somebody, like yeah, it's funny. Like if you're having like fun. You know, like fat jokes. I make like Italian jokes, short Italian jokes. All Italians are short with my friends. Like when, like it's just shit that you do. Especially when I used to have my work buddies, we used to just fuck with each other all the time about like shit all the time, and we all loved it. We had fun. You know, I'm just saying.
After this ban, and he said you should mention the fact that the things they say about you completely aren't true. At the time, was very, very normal, and we had a great time. We were good friends, and I heard from him actually after this ban, and he said you should mention the fact that the things they say about you completely aren't true.
Okay, I wonder what I'm sure he'll get into those things, but like you kind of clickbaited those things. So even if these things aren't true about you, a lot of the stuff that's been out there is you putting yourself out there in a way that's clickbaity to try to sell as many Hustler University things as possible. So like whatever misinformation might be out there about you, partially is your fault.
And this leads me on to the reason I believe these narratives have managed to gain such a foothold in popular consciousness.
Okay.
Due to the fact I've managed to develop an iron mind, because I'm probably the only individual on earth who can be vilified to this level without taking personal insult and without being emotionally affected, what I've done is I've allowed certain narratives to gain traction, which I shouldn't have allowed to gain traction because they didn't.
So basically what he's saying is like, I didn't speak out against these things people are saying about me, but you did. So you did, like, right, with the whole like sex trafficking thing. You've been pretty explicit about all the stuff that you've talked about. But okay, let's keep going.
Personally bother me because I know they are false. Okay. I live with a very, very pure heart. Okay. I'm a religious man. I go to church, and anyone who follows me in detail knows I donate huge sums of money to the church.
That's cool. That's really great that you donate money. It's funny that you're adding like this audio track in here now to try to add sentimental value. You're not like really religious, right? So we have to understand that like you might be a little religious, but you're like religious like most people are. You don't follow most things. I mean, you're advocating for fucking a bunch of girls and shit. I don't know, whatever. Okay, like.
And as long as I knew the truth of my heart, and
it's just like weird where these red pillars like, oh, I'm religious, but like your advocation of the world is like so counterintuitive to religion. You're not for like you'll be like, well, you're not for like marriage, really. You're 35 fucking around with like 20-year-olds. That's fine. Do you. But you like it's like the antithesis of like religious values is like red pill values. Like, what are you talking about? Like the religious people would think that you, like actual religious people that believe in like the like 2-parent households and the nuclear family and whatnot, they would think that like this is you're bad, like you're advocating for guys fucking up as many girls as they want, and, all this other shit. So
God knew the truth of my heart. I wasn't interested in lies being purported.
okay.
I now understand that that's wrong, because even though I've done nothing wrong, even though it doesn't emotionally affect me, even though God and myself know my innocence, the public consciousness has been polluted to a point where narratives are being purported which are absolutely and utterly false.
Okay.
And it's having a genuine negative impact on the people who I care about and the people who care about me. And despite the fact it doesn't emotionally affect me, as a man, I have a duty to protect all of those I love.
He's got to make sure we know he doesn't care, even though he's made an hour and 13-minute video about it.
And for this reason, these narratives have started to become very, very harmful. I was on the understanding that on the internet, people don't like you. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you say. There's going to be some people who don't like you, and the people who don't like you are not interested in the truth. What they're interested in is finding some lie that they can latch onto and accelerating that lie.
That can be true, sure. There's still a lot of red flags about some of the shit that's going on with your content, but okay.
On as much as possible via their platforms to try and paint a negative picture of you because they don't like you. A lot of these attacks against me are disguised under the virtue of caring about women. But none of these people who are attacking me care about women. None of them donate to women's charities. None of them donate to charity like I do. None of them help anybody like I do.
So I just need you to understand, just because you have the money to donate to people, doesn't make you a good person. If you have a lot of money and you donate money, it's actually like a religious thing. I don't remember the specific text, but I reference it sometimes. Like there's a text where it's like this one old woman had like 2 fucking pennies or dollars or whatever the currency was, and she gave it to the church, and they welcomed her with open arms. There was this rich guy who gave a bunch of money, but it wasn't really a lot comparatively, and they're like, "You're a fucking asshole," right? Like what you're telling, there's probably some people who don't care about women that speak out against you. Some that pretend to. They might think it's like the virtuous thing to do. But like not everybody has money to donate, and you have an absurd amount of money. It's very easy for you to donate. And yeah, that's cool. But like it doesn't mean anything. Like when you donate to the, especially since you're like, yeah, I donate. Guys, I actually do donate, like me, Papa Guy. I don't tell people because I don't think that that's how donations work. The fact that you're talking about it, that to me is like, well, you're going to make the argument they don't care. Well, then why the fuck are you talking about, oh, I donate. I give money to women, so I must not be disrespectful. It's not really how it works. Best case scenario, maybe you think your ideas might be regressive and you don't realize that they're toxic to women. I don't think that that's true. I think that that you're a piece of shit to women, and you speak about them in a very disrespectful tone. I think that there's a lot of people who follow you who think women are a fucking joke and less than. But like just being like I donate and you don't donate. Well, first of all, you don't know that because most people don't go around telling everybody they donate because that's like childish to do. Second of all, donating doesn't rid you of the wrongdoing. Like giving people money doesn't rid you of wrongdoing, right? Like it doesn't work like that. So, okay.
I'm about to show later on in this video proof of the massive work I do for helping people.
That's
They
cool.
don't help anybody. All they do is just attack me and use fake virtue, the fact they pretend to care, as a reason to attack somebody who they personally don't like.
Why'd you say pretend to care in quotes? Are you okay?
And it's very, very different to actually care about an issue or weaponize an issue and pretend to care to try and damage someone else's life. These are very, very different things.
Okay.
And this is the reason why I have not tried to dispel these myths as hard as I could have, because I understood that these people are always going to hate me and they're always going to lie about me, no matter what I say or do. But considering in light of the final ban, and considering I have the public consciousness, I think it's extremely important that for myself and for my family and for people I care about, that I tell the truth.
This is not concise.
And I make the truth known to the world, because that is the only intention in my video, is to sit and tell the truth. And the fact that I'm a very, very iron-minded individual who is not negatively affected by these smear campaigns is not reason enough for me not to say.
Bro, how many times, like, to me, this just screams fragile masculinity. How many times do you have to tell us that you aren't negatively mentally impacted by the hate crusades against you? Just fucking, like, I just find it weird. You said it like 4 times already. You're saying this is going to be concise, and you're rambling for 10 minutes. Like, you could have actually been concise. You had an editor do this too. Somebody came in here and they edited music and footsteps and the doorbell sounds. Why not have them edit out the it's just weird. Like, you didn't need to keep all this in. You said the same thing so many times. Why are you running with this? Like, just I guess if he just didn't say he's gonna try to be like, he overloaded it with like fucking word spaghetti in the beginning, using like a bunch of words, and then he's just not holding himself to that. I'm gonna be concise 5 times in a row.
Sit, take time, and dispel all the negative things which are said about
All
me.
right, I'm ready for it.
I am fully aware that not everybody is going to agree with what I say.
I'm ready for it.
I don't think there's a person on the planet you can find.
Just be real though. We did see the tweets that he made about women getting raped, and about how they have to bear some of the responsibility. So not great, but okay.
Who has a 100% approval rate. I don't think there's a...
And it is a little bit weird that you moved to Romania. Like, I understand what he was saying. He's like, I want to get away from the Me Too movement because I feel like it's in bad boy stuff. But then also that's kind of a red flag. Why do you, like, if you're acting appropriately with women, then you shouldn't have to worry about like getting Me Too'd. At least not to this degree. I don't know. There's a lot of red flags with Andrew. There's enough. I wouldn't see. This is the thing with a lot of the allegations. There's a lot of in the air. There's a lot of he said, she said. There's a lot of different information out there. There's some women who even came forward and said like, "Hey, he really wasn't that bad," and I totally get that. But Andrew Tate's a huge red flag. At the very least, you should stay away from this. This is not a person that you should want to be like. You really shouldn't. I understand like you might want to be rich. That's cool. I get that. Everybody wants to be rich. But like, he like outside of that. You don't want to be like Andrew Tate. I mean, because let's be honest here. Like, Andrew Tate was a good fighter, and then he turned that into a social media personality career. And then he went to like another country and opened up like a, basically like an OnlyFans webcam farm. And it does seem like it seems consensual, at least in the beginning when he talks about how he got 5 of his girlfriends to come together. And 3 of them left, which shows to me that like there was a reasonable amount of consent. But and then he had a bunch of girls do this. I don't know how much he paid them. It sounds like some kind of form of pimping. I don't know. It's a little weird. The details are a little blurry. It's a little bit sus to me. And then people talk about how he took advantage of like men. Sometimes I guess he would be the one that was typing to the men. That's what people are saying. I don't know. It's weird because it conflicts with a lot of like progressives' idea of like sex work. I guess it depends on how much he took from them. I don't really know. But a lot of details are kind of up and down. I think the most important thing is if they did it consensually or not. Because you can't really be like a more of a lefty and be like, I'm okay with OnlyFans, and then not be okay with like a webcam stuff, depending on how much I guess he took, right? If he forced him to do it, that's a whole different story. But I do also, there's so much fucking lore. I remember on his website he made like some comment about he would make girls fall in love with him and then make them do webcam stuff. So if that's actually true, that's really gross. If it's not true and he was just being like kind of like just a dumb fuck, jerking himself off, which is also very possible, then it wouldn't be so bad. He did remove it, which means he at least knows what he said was dumb. I think the biggest issue here is that like nobody's ever been able to sit down and press him on this stuff. Like if Andrew Tate actually cared to dispel some of these things, he would let somebody sit down and press him on it. Nobody's ever done that. He's never really accepted a conversation with people pressing him on these topics, which he really, I guess, can't now, can he? I don't really know. But I guess that would be good to do. So,
person on the planet you can find who has a 100% approval rate. There's always going to be somebody,
Mario,
who disagrees with what you say. If I said the earth was round, there would be a contingent of individuals on the planet who disagree with me. Sure. I have no problem with people disagreeing with me. I have no problem with being seen as controversial for some of the things I've said. However, I do have 2 significant problems I would like to address. The first is I do not like absolute and utter lies being told about me. I do not like having long-form video of me cut up, elements taken out of context, the tonality of the joke removed, and purporting an image of me that is not true. That's something I do not like.
Does he go
I do not
this?
like false accusations of criminal activity. That's another thing that I really do not like. I am totally aware that not everybody is going to like me. I have no problems with that. I think anyone who decides to get big on the internet needs to be very, very prepared for a contingent of people to not be happy with what they say. I could make a YouTube channel dedicated to the fact that I believe the world is round, and there would be a large or semi-large proportion of people who would disagree with me. I don't think there's a single creator online.
Did I accidentally go back in time Dude, he just said the same thing twice. Who the fuck edited this? This is actually fucking annoying, I know. He's saying the same thing twice in a row and having his editor leave it in there. Wow, this is literally 2 videos in one.
That has a 100% approval rate. I have a lot of people who love what I say. I have a lot of
Oh
fans,
my
a lot
God,
of
this
people
is
who are
actually
dedicated
so.
to my
I'm going
channel,
to
and
increase
I have a lot of positivity online. And I have a small contingent of people who are very, very offended by what I say.
Most people don't like you. I just want you to know. Like, most people think you're a fucking moron. I think most people just don't care. But like, most people look at you as like a joke. And then unfortunately, a lot of young men who are like desperate for positivity in their life like gravitate towards you because they're just like, they don't know, they're angry at the world because the world's fucking people. And they look at Andrew Tate and he's like, yeah, this guy, yeah, you know, he's right. And maybe some of the things you say are right, but overall you have a very toxic mentality when it comes to like treating women and like just the way that you interact. A lot of people are drawn to you from like a lot of the bigoted jokes. You talk about how these things are out of context. Mostly it's people in support of you putting them out of context things out there. And then like, who do you think is getting attracted to it? Like young edgy kids that are like, yeah, women are fucking dumb, basically, that kind of shit. So like, yeah, there's a lot of people who disagree with you that probably put your stuff out there in out of context for sure. But then a lot of those people are the people that like you because what would happen is Tate would encourage people to make TikToks and YouTube shorts and whatnot of him. They would take him out of context and make him look really fucking based, right? And that's where a lot of it comes from as well.
We often talk about, in the modern world, the inclusivity of different cultures, different ways of life, different sexual orientations, and how we need to be tolerant and understanding of all these different people's life paths, and by extension, their different ways of viewing the world. I'm a unique individual, as is everybody else, and I have a unique life path that has led me to...
For the most part, they're talking about people who, for instance, like that go against like the regressive status quo, right? So we're talking about like, hey, we should be more accepting of gay people because historically they've been shit on. There's no reason for that. We should be more accepting of other religions because historically, at least in America, we haven't accepted that. We've been shitting on people. When it comes to acceptance, it's like tolerating differences of people and their ideologies, for sure. The thing is that like, people don't need to be tolerant of you, Tate, because you shouldn't be tolerated. That doesn't mean that I don't think that they should ban you. But what you're saying is dumb and wrong about like the way that you're trying to direct men into. So like, yeah, like it's okay to be intolerant, I guess, as long as you're doing it the right way. But like, don't kind of just try to like ride the like, yeah, guys, you guys should be intolerant of my like really sexist rhetoric. It's like, I don't think so. Like, tolerance is usually for people that have been historically not tolerated and like targeted and hurt. People with red pill ideology have never faced that. That just used to be how things were, and it's just not now.
Unique points of view. I think that all of the people who just...
You also don't have a unique point of view.
As is everybody else, and I have a unique life path that has led me to unique points of view.
You might have a unique life path. You don't have a unique point of view. Like this has been tried and tested so many times. Like just not respecting women. I mean, like I don't know how else to put it. Taking advantage of women, having a double standard, thinking that they're less than. This isn't a unique point of view. You have to stop thinking that you have like you're not unique when it comes to that. You're a guy with money. I don't know what to tell you, but your mentality isn't unique. It's very regressive. It's been done before, and people have put a lot of work in to overturn it because it's bad and it's not good. Sorry for the inconcise speech pattern.
I think that all of the people who disagree with me are very, very welcome to disagree with me because they have had a unique life path and a different point of view, and I respect that, absolutely.
Okay.
I would never shout for any of the people who disagree with anything I say to be silenced or canceled. Okay. I don't think that helps the world. I think that discourse is always going to be the way that we lead ourselves to the truth.
My thing is like, how come you've never been open to discourse about the really fucked up shit that you've done? Or, sorry, alleged to do, right? Like it seems like you're completely against that. The most anybody's ever been able to push you on is like Hustler University, but nothing else. And
if anybody has anything contrary to say about any of my points of view, I welcome it. I like to hear it. And as long as it's in a respectful and adult manner, I often platform it on my platforms as much as possible so I can sit and discuss and I can learn things.
But not really. But like so I've never he's never really talked about the things that like the sex trafficking claims and whatnot with people who disagree with him. It's always like fresh and fit, like people like that, like the red pill guys are like, yeah, here's your platform to speak against it, but nobody's been able to sit down and push you on it. I don't believe for a second that you've ever tried to platform that. I think now that you've gotten banned and now you're like, oh shit, well, I would have been open to it. You wouldn't have been, I don't think, at all. Maybe you would have, but like, why didn't you allow anybody to talk about it? I'm just saying, it seemed a little weird.
Because if I have a point of view and someone challenges it in a very adult, correct, logical way, very often I've changed my point of view.
We just haven't seen that. I mean, like you just, I mean, not for nothing, you know, but like when Hassan was like, "Hey, you're wrong by statistics," you're like, "Statistics don't exist, guys. Statistics don't. If the statistic goes against what you're saying, you say that it's just an online statistic and it doesn't matter. When it does agree with what you're saying, you go like, yeah, that's a really cool poggers, awesome. But when it comes to COVID and when it comes to women driving, like you've been just completely against listening to actual like objective statistical analysis. You don't. You're not this level-headed person that you're pretending to be. Like you're just not. Like don't pretend that you are. It's absurd.
And this has been really, really good for me as a person to grow and for the audience to grow. And I know I've changed many other people's minds when they've come to debate with me. And this is the beauty of being human.
Yeah.
So I have no problem with being disliked. I do have a problem with a few things. I have a problem with long format things I've said being taken out of context, taking a small clip from a 2-hour piece of video, then with careful editing, removing of tonality, and changing my intention behind the words, painting me to be a criminal or a bad person when I'm not.
Can you show me an example of that, or are you just going to keep talking and not actually bring that up? Because it seems like you're not going to actually. This is a big problem. Like, I hope he does, but I'm going to assume he's never. He doesn't seem. Let's see, but it doesn't seem like he's going to actually do that. It seems like he's going to keep making these like really. Maybe he will. We'll see. Okay, let's keep going.
I have a problem with false criminal accusations when I do not have a criminal record, and I have never had a criminal record in any country on the planet. I do have a problem with this. And also I have a problem with the fact that social media has changed so much in modern times. A lot of the things I said that are being used against me were said 5 or 6 years ago in long format video. And as of late, with TikTok, with YouTube Shorts, with Instagram Reels, it's very, very easy to take 2 hours of video, snip out 10 seconds, edit it up quickly on a phone app.
I just want you guys to understand something really quick. So this is like really important for you to really absorb. Andrew Tate's talking about people taking his stuff out of context and putting it up as clips and making him look bad. If you look at the names of this, Money Mindset, Andrew Tate, and Tate Smarts, these are all pages that are advocating for him. So what did I just say a little before? This motherfucker, if they're out of context, a lot of this out of context, most, I would say argue, at least half, is for people who are advocating for you. So if they're taking what you're saying out of context, then like they're doing it in a way that advocates for your existence in a positive way. So like your fans think that this is good. I don't like you're like these are the examples. Like, what do you talk about? So, like, clearly you're encouraging it if you think that this is perfectly acceptable.
It's very, very easy to take 2 hours of video, snip out 10 seconds, edit it up quickly on a phone app, and then blow it up to millions and millions of views with all context removed, all tonality removed.
That's what you wanted. You told people to do that to sell Hustlers University. You're so full of shit.
And it makes it look like I'm saying things I did not say or I mean things I did not mean. And this is something that I can't control. I became the most Googled man on the planet, and to a degree I'm a victim of my own success because now people are trying to find any little clip of anything I've ever said, remove all the tonality, and just blow it up to try and get views to be as controversial as possible. I understand why they're doing that. They're doing that because they want the views for themselves. But they're not taking into consideration how that affects me and my
a lot of them asked a lot of them to do that.
Personal image as a whole. And I think the things I've just highlighted has now culminated in the media believing something about me which is so pertinently false, based on videos I have never even made, purported and accelerated and advertised by people who I don't even know, with such a small piece of video from me, with all context removed, that I've now become the #1 villain of Earth, and I truly believe that's unjust. And I want to discuss that here.
So discuss it.
In my final message, that I am not any of the things I've been accused of, regardless of whether I am banned, reinstated, remain on social media, is completely beside the point. This is just a matter of clearing the air while I have the national consciousness. I was massively a victim of my own success. I decided to accelerate my public persona and presence about 6 months ago, and I was massively successful. I became the most Googled man on the planet. I am, by the metrics of the internet, the most famous individual who is currently alive in the world today. That comes with a bunch of advantages and disadvantages. We can go into those at depth. The disadvantages are safety aspects, safety concerns, which we're going to talk about a bit later. I've had serious threats on my life. I receive over 5,000 death threats per day. So do people who I love and people I care about. They also receive death threats. The social media companies have yet to take any action against this. They were uninterested in trying to police this in any form.
Well, that's obviously terrible, but like, what were they saying? I'm curious. I don't know. Sometimes you kind of get the you should kill yourself stuff. I think everybody gets that. It's not good, obviously. I would want to see what he means by what is a death threat. I'm just curious. I'm not going to doubt it. I mean, there probably are a lot of people. I would just like to know for context what is some of the stuff that's being said, but I guess you can't show that.
The advantages are, of course, is that I have a massive effect on people. And I have had thousands of emails from men saying, you've saved me from depression. You saved me from suicide. You helped me so much.
Cool.
The #1 video on my YouTube channel, my pinned video, has been for over a year. Mind hacks, how to beat depression, how to feel better as a man. saying
So
they're
I mean, like this is the second time he's done it, but it seems more like he's in. I mean, it's like I guess it makes sense logically, but it seems like he's more interested in using this video as a way to direct people to his website than it for anything else. But okay.
believing that depression is some monster from the sky that strikes your brain and now you have no control over it and you must take pills every day is the absolute enemy to a G mindset. I don't give a fuck how depressing my situation. The only person who can change it is me. The only person who can change how I feel about my situation or try and affect the situation directly is me. Even if you put me in a situation I can't change, if you put me in jail and I'm depressed because I'm in jail, I still refuse to succumb to depression. I refuse to collapse mentally and give up. I know the only person who can control my mind is me. Nobody's coming to save me. As a man who's been through such a difficult...
Yeah, I think that's not horrible. I mean, sometimes people have like chemical imbalances in their brain and whatnot, and they might need like additional help, and I totally understand that. But like, no, see, this is the thing is that there's some things that Tate says that aren't bad. Like that's not bad. Like you should do your best to control your shit. Like when it comes down to it, you should, I would say, do the best that you can to not control your life with any type of medication. Right. So like you really that's the best way to operate. You don't want to be on some kind of medication for your shit. I would say like a lot of that, if you're an overweight person like myself, is like eat better, because you'd be surprised how like horrible the fuel is you're putting into your body if you're eating like shit, and how negatively it will impact you. Just having high blood pressure, having a like faster heart rate is going to lead to like things like anxiety. I know you're like, oh, that's not true. Yeah, this is true, bro. Like if you're eating something and it's making like, your blood pressure go up and your heart rate's going up, you're going to get more anxious. You're going to get more freaked out. You're going to get more stressed out. Eat better foods. Like you really should be going in that way. You might need medication to put yourself in the mindset to be able to be like, okay, I can do this. And then you have to motivate yourself. The only thing you really have control over is yourself. Like this isn't bad advice, but it doesn't mean that everything he says is good. And one of the problems too is that like there's going to be a lot of people who don't like Tate who would listen to that and be like, and they'll find fault in everything that he's saying. And like that's where you get into like the contrarian mindset where you're just like everything that you say is wrong. I have to disagree with everything because you're bad. But it's like there's things that he's saying that are good, and if you're not acknowledging why people gravitate towards Tate in some instances, then like you're probably never going to be able to remove those people from his following when they talk about shit like that. Like we have gotten a little too like pill happy in our society. It's just the reality. And like I think a lot of people don't want to hear like the news that like eating like abysmal dog shit is so bad for you. And there's a lot of problems. There's like I feel like a lot of the foods that are aren't regulated properly in America. If you look at like Europe, or I guess parts of it, but like they have foods that in America, like wheat thins, I think are banned in like the fucking UK, right? Or it's crazy how like there's different dyes that we have in like our rainbow sprinkles in America that aren't banned in other countries. It's crazy, and I think that's a big problem of it. There's probably the internet and just people like being fat all day and not really getting up and moving around. And I know I'm part of the problem as well, but these are like a lot of the things that are an issue that people really should work on. But stop being a pure contrarian, I guess is what I want to say.
life. I think I have a very intimate understanding of difficulty and how to grow as a man and how to become the kind of man that can handle a difficult life, because this has been my life path. This is what God chose for me. And this is what I've been teaching. And I have affected positively millions of people. And I'm immensely proud of that. I truly am. However,
well, I'm genuinely curious. I know he grew up poor. I'm just curious because so far from what he said is that like when he was 5, he had like an instance where he hit someone with a lunchbox, and then from there on out, he was in school and never really got bullied or fucked around with, because he like set solid boundaries. Maybe I'm just uneducated on Tate. Where's the struggle that you're saying that you've gone through? I'm not even trying to be an asshole. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I just mean like so far we got your whole backstory, and it was one story about hitting somebody with a lunchbox, and then you're like, yeah, nobody really bullied me. So like, what's the hardship are we referring to? I'm not saying I just want to know. That's it. I'm not saying that like that he didn't have any struggle. I'm just curious. What is that struggle? Like you said you're going to go through a history. We've gotten 17 minutes, and you gave us one kind of anecdote that is questionable.
People couldn't stop talking about me. And when people were talking about me, they weren't doing it out of love for me. They weren't doing it because they cared about me. The main reason people were talking about me so extensively is because they cared about their own channels, their own views. They wanted their own clicks. And they understood that if they can make a YouTube video purporting a lie about me or saying bad things about me, it's more likely to get clicked. It's more likely to get watched. It's more likely to get shared. Expose, Andrew Tate is this. Expose, Andrew Tate is that. And what's happened is people, through their own selfish desires of trying to piggyback off the back of my massive fame and becoming the most famous man on the planet, have decided that making a bunch of negative videos is a fantastic way for them to personally gain clout and personally gain views and clicks, which is what the internet is about. And we ended up in a situation.
I think it's more possible that there's a lot of people who have identified that you're like a walking red flag, and then they have sensationalized some of the stories that come out about you, and they don't do fact checking and everything. And I do agree with that. There are people who do not fact check everything that they talk about. We know there's plenty of them. but that doesn't mean that like they were just like, yeah, let's fucking target Andrew Tate because he's I know this is a good guy, but listen, you know what I mean? Like you are still an asshole, even if the allegations against you are not true. Like your ideology is still bad. There are parts of it that can be good, but overall, it's a constant like internet struggle with red pill like bullshit.
Where videos of me from long ago are being taken out of context purposefully to try and purport a narrative which is not true, because people understand that's a very easy way for them to gain
keep saying the same
clout
thing.
and
Holy
reach
fuck!
of my success. That's all fine.
What are you, Papa Gut, saying the same thing over and over again? What the fuck?
I have no problem with people disagreeing with me, being disliked, etc. However, when it has an effect to this magnitude, where I am genuinely seen as a negative, bad influence on the world, when all of the emails I receive from people who watch me are positive, saying I'm helping people.
Who cares? Like, this doesn't matter. Okay, there's some people who say that you did a good thing. It doesn't mean that they're right. You can't just say like, oh, because there are some people who say I'm a good guy, that must mean I'm a good guy and you're wrong. No, you're not great. You kind of suck. There's going to be people who can find positives in your messages, but like your message overall is negative. Like, okay.
People, how I've helped their mind, I've cured their depression. It's really strange to experience such a disconnect. To have,
and not for nothing, if your depression is like cured from Tate just telling you that you need to pick yourself up by your bootstraps, you probably weren't really that depressed in the first place. I'm not trying to be an asshole, just saying.
98% of the people who email you say how fantastic you are and how much you helped them. And then 2% of unknowns threatening your life. And then everyone I meet on the street.
Wait. So you're saying that like you were getting 500 messages a day, or 5,000? Let's say it's 500 a day, and that's only 2%. Wow, you must get a lot of messages. What is that? What is that? 500 times 50? Is that 25,000? Holy fuck. Do I believe that you get 25,000 messages a day? Do you read them all? Okay.
Such amazing things. Since I've become the most famous man on the planet, I have never once had a negative experience in real life. Everybody who meets me is very respectful, a fan. We take pictures, we shake hands. Nobody has screamed at me in public. Nobody's come up to me and called me names in public. Nobody said I'm wrong. I've been to over 20 countries. I've never had a single negative in-person experience ever. So the people love me. At the same time, the media is saying I'm hated. It's a very strange disconnect I've been experiencing. And a lot of that has been purported and accelerated by the fact that people are trying to gain views on their own channels, separate to me, nothing to do with me, by accelerating lies. It's also an interesting case study into internet mass hysteria, right? If 50 videos come out saying Tate's a bad guy, it takes a lot of bravery for someone to come out and say Tate's not a bad guy. Despite
I think the thing is that people in the real world don't care that you're sexist. Of the ones that you're meeting. I mean, that's the reality. People don't care that you're sexist. Because the internet... for good and bad, the real world has some regressive ideas, right? And they don't care. Like, this is stuff that people just don't care about. So that's pretty much it. Like, if I ever met Tate on the street, I wouldn't be like, fuck you, Tate. I wouldn't care enough to do that. I'll get a picture with him. I'd be like, hey, I would obviously then be like, hey, like, can I talk to you about all the shit you've done? I wouldn't expect people to, like, run up and yell at the guy, though. It's probably not going to happen. But okay.
The evidence. I can show evidence to the contrary of these negative narratives.
So then do it.
At the end of time. But if somebody can see...
Then do it. Then do it.
A creator or a content creator can see, if you make a negative video about Tate, you get a bunch of clicks, and everyone else did it. Well, then I may as well do it. They don't sit there and go, what about Andrew? What about the truth of this? What about the effect on his life? What about the effect on his experience of the world? That doesn't come into consideration. What comes into consideration is, everyone else did this and got a bunch of views.
If people think you're a shitty person, why would they care how you feel? Like this, okay, who cares? Okay.
And even though what they're saying is false, even though some of them know it's false, some of them may not, but the ones who are well-researched know it's a lie. It's very, very tempting for them to sit there and do it anyway, because there's no repercussion. There's no downside to them. All that's going to happen is they're going to get a bunch of clicks, a bunch of views, a bunch of comments, a lot of people defending me because they know it's not true, a lot of people agreeing with them who are less researched. They're going to completely benefit. And the only person who's going to suffer is me. And because I have an iron mind and I wasn't emotionally affected by this, and I understood the nature of the internet, I didn't try to combat it too hard. I didn't know exactly what I should do, because I'd already told the truth on repeat many, many, many times, but nobody would acknowledge it. They would just ignore it because it got more clicks to purport the lies. So I thought, that's the nature of the internet. I've never been this famous before. I guess that's just how it goes.
So why wouldn't you just? So then why wouldn't you just correct the record? Then you had so many platforms to do it. Oh my God.
Via the media has genuinely bought into a construct where people believe I'm somehow dangerous, when all I have done is save people from depression. We talk about men's mental health. Patty Pimblett just fought and talk about if you have trouble with men's mental health, come forward.
As I said, women talk to each other. There's no stigma on women. They sit around and have a cup of tea and have a jangle.
True that.
Men don't, lad. Men feel like, I can't go and say that to him because he'll think I'm a little mushroom. You know what I mean? That's what men think. But as I said in the cage, I'd much rather my friend come to me and speak to me and cry on my shoulder than me have to cry when I'm carrying his coffin a week later.
I just wanted to show the world that if mental health would bring somebody as big as me and as strong as me and, the stereotype heavyweight champion of the world to my knees, then it could bring anybody to the knees.
Tyson Fury talked about it. I talk about it.
The the reason that I'm like, oh my godding this, okay, maybe I'm thinking of the wrong person. I think I'm thinking of like, maybe I'm thinking of Fresh and Fit. Am I thinking of the wrong person? Trying to think. Maybe I am, because I'm thinking. I remember Fresh and Fit. Yeah, maybe I'm thinking of Fresh and Fit. Fresh and Fit talk about how you shouldn't tell like your woman about your mental health issues. You should talk to other guys about it. And that's why I was laughing. Is because like you advocate for that, but I actually don't think I heard him say it. So I guess I can't. I have to retract the thing. Okay.
Tries to talk about it, and everyone says, men, you should talk more. Talk to us. I try and encourage men to be strong. I say, listen, if you're depressed, you need to get in the gym. A strong body is a strong mind. I sit there, and by using my lifestyle, which is an aspirational lifestyle.
Well, that's not advocating for men to talk to people, right? Like, you like work on your body is great advice, but like that's just advocation to not. Okay.
Most men would love to have, purely because of the finance, the cars, the freedom, etc. I encourage people to work hard and try their best to become the best version of themselves. And men are encouraged to talk and open up, but when I talk and open up and get massive influence and start helping people, they're going to silence me.
No, wait. It sounds like okay. It sounds like what you just told people is to go work on your body if people are talking. This is the thing. Is like your whole fundamental seems to be talking about picking yourself up by your bootstraps if you're depressed, but not talking to people about it. So like you're not really advocating against depression fully. It's not a bad thing to say go to the gym. It's a good idea, but like. They're not really telling you to talk and open up about your like shitty ideology where women are less than. They're saying like open up about your mental health struggles and whatnot. That's what they're referring to there. But I think that we kind of should understand that this is going to be like a really weird, unintelligent gaslight. So
I've been nothing but a net positive for the world. That's truly how I do myself, and that's absolutely not really the truth. However, I am very understanding of a changing social media landscape, and I'm also very, very understanding of my fame.
So fucking boring.
And by extension, I have some responsibility to bear. I am a man who believes that he is responsible for everything. I think as a man, you should take complete responsibility for your entire reality. It doesn't matter if I'm struck by lightning. That is my fault. That's who I am as an individual, and it's been one of my keys to success, to never blame luck, to never blame anybody else, to only blame myself. So despite everything I've just said,
I mean, like you're going to get lucky, and like I'm pretty successful comparative to most people in the world. It's a lot of it is luck. You should be humbled and understand that. Like you could be a talented person, and like of course there's things that I'm good at, but ultimately a lot of it boils down to luck, and you need to try hard and hope for your lucky moment and really grab onto it and be humbled by the experience. Because what if you think that like you have control over everything and you're just going to be a conceited dickhead like Andrew Tate? Because he is. And he thinks he literally thinks that he's had a net positive on the world. He is completely void of like a mental understanding of himself. He's not introspective at all. He's not self-aware. So like, yeah, you shouldn't operate as if like you control everything, because then you're going to think your success is fully deserved. It never is. You can work hard. It doesn't mean that you fully deserve anything that you get. A lot of it is going to be luck. A lot of it's going to come down to like support systems in your life that have done a lot for you. And you should make sure that you take a step back and realize what aspects of your success are from other people and what aspects are from luck, and understand and be humbled by that so that you don't become like a fucking arrogant asshole.
I still blame myself. And because my rise has been so meteoric, because I've become so famous so quickly, and because I've been producing content for so long, even though I take absolute responsibility, I'm in a difficult scenario where videos that were made 5 or 6 years ago in long form are now being cut into 5 seconds.
See, he's saying the same thing over and over and
I can't stop
over
that
again. This could have been a half an hour.
I have a degree of responsibility, right? Because I'm the most influential person on the planet. So my responsibility is to make sure that any kind of negative content.
I mean, you really aren't. I just want you to know, like, you are influential, but this is just sort of a jerk off festival. This video could have been done by now. We've gone through, like, we've barely talked about anything because you keep saying the same things over and over again. You said this was supposed to be concise. This is a fucking drag.
In my messaging are removed. I want to stick to my message. I don't want to backtrack. I still want to champion men's issues. I still want to champion physical and mental strength. I still want to champion the protection of women. I still want to do that. However, I must be ultra aware of how I do that, because it would be unprofessional of me as a man to sit and say that my messaging does not have to change in line with my fame. The way you can say things in a video that gets 500 views is very different than the way you can say things in a video that gets 500 million views or 50 million views. You have to change your messaging. The more people you reach, the more important it is that people do not take your things out of context, right? If 0.1% of people misunderstand you on a 500-person video, that will not have a large effect on the world. But if 0.1% of people misunderstand you on a video that has 50 million views, now you start to affect the world in a negative way. So I have to be very, very.
I want you to know, like, most people aren't misunderstanding you. Most people are understanding you perfectly. You just don't like that they think that what you're saying is bad, because they have a negative interpretation. When you're a smaller content creator, absolutely. You say things to fewer people, you're less on the map. People tend to like gloss over you, even if you're saying things that are problematic, for sure. But that doesn't mean that you're right. It just means that people don't want to bother with you.
very careful in line with my newfound fame. And it's difficult because in the world I'm in, if I sit down and do a 3-hour podcast, it's my job to be entertaining. And I want to give exciting answers and interesting insights. I think the reason people follow me is because I have a very firm understanding of the English language, a very good grasp of the way to construct sentences, how to be motivating, how to be compelling. And I do that on purpose. But it's also very difficult for me, regardless of my intellect, to now sit at a podcast, be interesting, be exciting, give a compendious and concise answer, at the same time, be wary that in my 1-minute answer, at any point, 6 seconds worth of it can be taken, snipped, used against me, and weaponized. I don't know if my mind can handle all those tasks at once. It's not very often I'm stumped, but that is becoming...
So, like, I know what he's really trying to do here is be like, hey, listen, like, a lot of it's an act. I'm just trying to be entertaining. And that, there is a level of that that's, of course, true, but we have to understand something. And this is something that we need to truly understand. And it's that a lot of people use the it was just a joke argument for about everything as a convenient excuse, right? So this is the same as the it's just a joke argument. It's like, I need to be entertaining, so I'm going to say things in a joking context, a little bit exaggeratory, et cetera, et cetera. The thing is with jokes specifically is jokes can sometimes just be silly jokes, and then jokes can also be used as vehicles to really like drive a point home. So when you're making a joke about how women are stinky and they can't drive, but then you spend 20 minutes defending how you think women are bad drivers, it's clear that even though you're joking, you do mean it. So we need to stop pretending that everything is just a joke when like you believe the context behind the joke. You're just saying it in a humorous manner to drive it home more. So, okay.
Extremely difficult. And I'm sitting here thinking I've been offered massive podcast requests by the biggest podcast in the world. And I'm thinking, how can I answer questions? How can I be a responsible adult? Because that's what I am. How can I be a professional? Take responsibility for my level of fame to make sure that nothing can be taken out of context, but still tell my truth and still answer the questions, but construct my sentences in a way where they can't be misrepresented at all. And it's hard because I think any content creator who was suffering from what I've suffered from, if any content creator got as large as I was, and there was as many people cutting up their videos as they were mine, and those people had a negative agenda, we could make Mickey Mouse look evil. You could make anyone look bad. I'm not saying I haven't given them ammo. Of course, there's been the odd clip that made it easy for them.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, Walt Disney's anti-Semitic, guys.
I'm saying if their intentions were to be as provocative and negative as possible, it can be done to anybody. And that's why now I need to take a break from all the podcasts I've been invited on, especially since I've been banned. I've been invited on the largest platforms in the world. I've had 100,000 emails of support. All the media channels want to talk to me. And I'm sitting here thinking, I need to make sure I'm not misunderstood.
Bullshit. This motherfucker just took an interview at Fox. This is like a day or two later. He's like, I'm going to go to Fox. If you like... Okay, it's just funny because before he's talking about how if people have disagreements with what he has to say or think, he'll talk to them. Okay, cool. So like if you did actually get all these requests from some of the biggest outlets, go talk to ones that will disagree with you, not Tucker fucking Carlson. You're so full of shit. This is such a disingenuous bullshit. Holy fuck.
And I have to really be careful about how I do that while not backing down on my messaging, while still championing the things I champion, still believing in myself, but making sure I'm not misunderstood. And although I think on the internet I am one of the most respected oratists that exist.
You're not. You're a meme. Most people think you're a fucking joke on the internet. Just like, okay.
I now need to once again improve myself and improve my skills and prevent anybody being able to take me out of context. I might have to form a new way for sentences to be constructed. But if that's what it takes, that's what I intend to do. Because with great influence comes absolutely and utterly great responsibility. And I do understand that. And I will blame myself for the fact that people have managed to do this to me, regardless of the fact that I did not want it to happen. So let me give a quick example of this.
Cool.
Before I continue, I want to say that I often speak to the absolute beauty of women. I have a very healthy relationship with my mother. I have women around me who truly and utterly love me. I have very healthy relationships with females. I have no criminal charges for crimes against females. Nobody has come forward and accused me of sexual misconduct. Please understand, we'll go into the Romanian...
Well, it seems like some of them have, but I guess in an official capacity he's talking about, sure.
...house raid shortly. But most people in my position of fame have had women come forward and say he raped me. I'm the most famous man on the planet. There's not a single female whose face you can name or whose face you can picture that's come forward and said I've raped her. Not a single female has come forward saying I've hurt her. Not one. There's a video from 10 years ago that showed...
I just want to be on, like, okay, so let's just be clear. The Daz video, and these women some of them could be lying. They could be jumping on the clout wagon. They could be doing a lot of things. There seems to be a lot of women who have come forward, to Daz at least, and they're just like apprehensive about saying anything more because they're afraid of Andrew Tate. Now that could be a lie, right? Those could be false allegations. I don't really know. I wouldn't doubt that some of them are true though, right? But even like one of his own tellings of a story, it doesn't really, those things don't really matter too much because like even outside of those allegations you still have such a horrible perspective and like dog shit perspective of women, and you're like, well, but I have a good relationship with my mom for sure, but like who doesn't have the grandparent who like the grandparents love each other, but the granddad's a little bit of an asshole, and maybe back in the day used to hit their kids and used to hit his wife, but the mom still loves them, right? So and then like those ideologies pass down to their kids, but they still have great relationships with their sons, even though their sons are still kind of shitty, usually not as shitty, but still kind of, you understand what I'm saying? So like, yeah, okay, cool. I'm not saying your dad's a fucking scumbag. I'm just saying like the way that you've spoken about women is like fucking disgusting, especially hitting on a 17-year-old girl on a live stream that happened on Twitch recently, right? It's weird. Oh, when you turn 18, I'll take care of you. You're fucking weird. Like you're gross. What are you talking about? This like reframing is pathetic. Talk to somebody that'll push back on your shit.
Me in a sexual act with one of my ex-girlfriends.
Listen, you stupid bitch. I didn't say the word listen. Did I say listen?
Hello everyone, I just wanted to say something about the video that's been released recently about me and my ex-boyfriend Andrew Tate. Andrew is my still great friend. What you guys saw in the video, it's just what we used to do. It was just pure game. He's a great guy. He would never hurt anyone. Unless he's fighting.
The left under
For sure. The thing is that there was also another one before that where he's like, there's a girl who locks herself in the closet, right? We saw that one. What's your explanation for that one? How come you're not talking about that? Like this girl like runs from you, hides in the closet. She's not wearing lingerie. Like she didn't come forward and say everything was just a joke. So like, what about that one? Why aren't you referring to that one as well? This one's easy because the girl came forward and said like he wasn't a bad guy, and she is probably, hopefully, telling the truth. Now I understand people are apprehensive. They're like, I think she's lying. You might be, but we need to take her words for face value, or we need to take her word for what she's saying because she is an adult, right? So we need to like be reasonable and be like, just because we want to believe that like he was abusing her doesn't mean that he was. But what about this other girl? There's nobody. She didn't come forward. Like the girl in the brunette who came forward, or excuse me, the video is about, and where she's like hiding from you in the thing. Like, why didn't you reference that one? You're going to go for the easy ones.
kink shaming is a negative thing, from my understanding. She has come forward and said that it was all just a game. And still that video is being used and sent around the internet saying I'm a woman beater. If I said it was a game and she said it was a game, who are other people to then comment on our lives, our private lives, which got leaked, and tell us it's not a game? It was between two consenting adults, and we decided to do something ourselves, and we both agreed it was fine, and she has not come forward trying to accuse me of anything. So who are others to do that? That's just kink shaming, which that's all it is. So no women are accusing me of anything. No women are accusing me of misconduct. I champion women all the time. I say about how they should be protected, how beautiful they are, how much I love my grandmother because of the amount of children she had. My grandmother had...
Okay, but you still have shitty views on women. You think that they're less than. You think that they shouldn't be working. You think that they're wasting their lives if they get a career. Like, just knock it off with the I appreciate what you look at women as like a dog. You look at them as like less than. You think that they need, like, I think you should protect women too. I protect my wife, of course. But like you look at them as if they're pathetic and like need your protection, and they're just like fucking losers. That's like, yeah, it's nice that you like some girls, but that doesn't mean that you have a positive interpretation or relationship, like a positive relationship with the concept of a woman.
9 children, because there was my father and 8 more. They all had a bunch of kids, blah, blah, blah. I stood there and looked at my 93-year-old grandmother, and there was a whole room full with maybe 70 people that came from that one woman. Isn't that remarkable? That nobody cared about her career. Nobody asked what job she did. Nobody asked how many times she went to the club. Nobody asked if she had time to go to festivals. No, you had 70 sentient beings, including myself, full of life from one woman who dedicated herself to being a mother and a good wife. That is beautiful.
I talk about how women are unique and special, and they can do things.
And I'm pretty sure that was in a podcast where he's shitting on other women who are like, yeah, I want to have a career. And he would just be like, oh, you just want a club and parties. Okay.
Things that men can't do. And still these clips are taken out of context.
They're not.
I absolutely not really love women. I have nothing against women. I believe women are the most precious things on the planet. They create life. They should be protected. They should be provided for. I would never let a woman pay for a bill. I would never let a woman, if someone touched any of my women, I would stand up against 10 men by myself and risk my life to protect her. I believe that women are beautiful creatures. I just don't think that they're as emotionally calm as men in stressful situations. I don't think they can fight like a man can. And for the same reason, I would never drop my children in an all-male nursery. I think that's strange and weird. I would only drop them in an all-female nursery. Women do certain things and men do certain things.
Now, I believe everything I
Sure.
say. I believe in protecting women. I believe in...
Like, I get that. There are strains for men and women. But again, like, this is like, just as some people might be taking you out of context, you're taking yourself out of context to make yourself look as good as possible. It's kind of difficult for you to be like, guys, they're taking 6-second clips out of 3-hour things. And that's bad. By the way, here's 6 seconds out of a 3-hour thing. You're still shit.
in championing women. I believe in making sure that women are provided for. However, that video was made when I was far less famous. In light of the things I just said to you earlier in this video, I understand that now, as my fame grows, even though to me my message is very clear, a man has certain roles in society, a woman has certain roles in society, and when we work as a team, when we love each other, society is better as a whole. I think that these views are not very controversial at all. I think they were mainstream only a few years ago. I don't think that they're controversial. Most of the people I meet in the world don't think they're controversial. The women I hang around with don't think they're controversial. Nobody on the street I've ever met thinks they're controversial. Everybody agrees with me. However, the way I'm saying...
I mean, you mostly hang out with like 18-year-old girls and all that. But again, like, yeah, this is pretty normal in the real world, brother. That's fine. But, okay.
the way I'm getting the message across, because I'm trying to be as energetic as possible, I understand that a small, tiny percentage of people might misunderstand me. And that didn't matter when I didn't have any views. I didn't have any followers. But now I'm the most famous man in the world. I have to be a lot more careful with how I say it.
So
but what's really worrying is this.
he's saying
that
the same
clip, I
thing
would like to
over
think,
and
even my
over
biggest
again.
haters can agree, is a clip that is positive about women as a whole. Perhaps you may not like my tonality or the way I structured certain sentences, but as a whole, I'm saying positive things about women. At one point during that speech, I said women do certain things and men do certain things. That clip has been taken, that cut of my language, men do certain things, women do certain things. Somebody, I have no idea who, has made a TikTok where it says men do certain things, and it shows videos of me driving around in cars, spending money, and women do certain things, and it shows women cleaning. Women do certain things, and men do certain things.
This TikTok has 0 likes on it, so it probably has like maybe 100 views, if any at all. So like this isn't even an example of anything that matters.
Somebody off their own back, somebody else has made that video. I didn't tell them to. I don't know who they are. I don't know what their account is. It's just viral on the internet somewhere. And now
No, it's not. You just showed us. It's not viral at all. It's got 0 fucking likes. Are you dumb? Oh my God. Dude, it's viral on the internet somewhere with 0 likes.
I look
Okay.
like I'm saying women should only clean and men should only run around with cars and women and money. I didn't
Nobody's bouncing off of that and having a fucking cum festival about that. That's farthest from the things that people are worried about.
say that. I didn't say that at all. I said that women should be protected and provided for. But because a small clip was taken out.
Yeah, you've also said that you think that you should get like all of a woman's OnlyFans if they do OnlyFans because you want to pimp. You basically talk about advocating for pimping your girlfriend out, but you wouldn't have that double standard back the other way. So you're sexist. This is so dumb.
Context and used against me and weaponized.
This is so
now I
stupid.
look like I've said things I did not say. And no matter
Okay.
how positive my message about women, if the intention is to try and make me look bad,
Okay, so but you were on podcasts yelling at women that wanted to have careers. So like you do actually kind of believe this, right? This non-viral video that you're pretending is viral. You still kind of believe it. So what are you on about?
even with a clip like that, they found a way to make me look bad.
Okay.
That's the scary thing. That's why I've titled this video My Final Message, because I don't know, even with my entire brain, I don't know with all of my genius intellect, if I can find a way for nothing to be used against me. It's extremely difficult. One line out of context has made me look bad, and millions of people saw that. And people didn't see the long format video, and they've deduced that I hate women and that women should only clean, when really I was trying to stick up for and protect women and give my true views on women. And this comes full circle to the Instagram ban. I'm very understanding of why Instagram felt like it was necessary to ban me. I am not mad at Instagram. I'm a professional, and as a professional, I'm not an emotional person. I do not do emotional responses. Although I believe it's unfair, although I believe I've been unfairly vilified, although I believe it's not the right thing to do because it doesn't allow me to shift the public consciousness in a constructive manner, although I think it would have been better for them to say, Andrew, certain things are being taken out of context. You need to be careful that doesn't happen. A lot of people listen to you, and I could have become a champion for women's rights. I am not emotional.
What?
That doesn't happen. A lot of people listen to you, and I could have become a champion for women's rights.
Oh, no, you certainly couldn't, but okay.
I am not emotional. I understand why they did it, because that's a perfect example of how people are desperate to try and make the things I say look worse than they are, and using social media platforms to purport negative views of women. And it doesn't matter if it's a negative view of a woman, negative view of men, negative view of a sexuality. It doesn't matter what it is. It should be stopped. I agree with that. And Instagram or Meta have a responsibility to show that they are listening to the public. They want to show that they're listening. I have some good people on the case, and dialogue with Instagram I would like to open, and will proceed as God sees fit. If God believes that I do not need an Instagram page, then I will not have one. If God believes I do, then I shall. This is not just about Instagram. This is just me saying to Instagram that I totally understand. I just wanted to make it clear that I didn't want these things to be said. That clip of the cleaning and me being taken out of context has no benefit for me. Everyone dislikes me on the internet.
Again, you advocated for people to do this. You encourage your fans to make content like that so that they could push your Hustlers University programs, so they can make some money through affiliate links. So, like, to an extent you do. Again, it is kind of a similar way to how you feel. Okay, this is fucking really boring and fucking exhausting.
Certain people watch it and know it's not true. The ones who've watched the longer format stuff of my videos and they're fans of mine, fine. So certain people remain neutral because they know it's false. But people who don't then dislike me. My family gets death threats. I get death threats. Hate is spread online. Like, there's no benefit for me. If I could stop that happening, I absolutely would. Which is why I want to adjust my messaging and adjust the way I talk. I don't want that to happen. That doesn't help me. I would love for that to never happen.
If you were so frustrated by all these death threats and stuff, though, why did you wait until after you were banned to talk about it? I don't really understand. Like, why wait until now? Like, oh guys, I'm banned. Like now all of a sudden it's like a big concern to you. But it kind of seems like maybe it's just not true. First of all, you might be like lying about some of it, not all of it, because I'm sure you're getting some like not nice messages. But I mean, like, who's your family? Like your brother? Nobody really knows who the fuck else anybody is. So it sounds like you and your brother are getting these, like, yeah, you both are kind of scumbags. Don't you run like a fucking weird, like, OnlyFans, like, porn farm in Romania? Like, whatever. Even if people don't think that you're like the worst thing in the world, Or even if like people who may not think that you're like, even I'm just like, yeah, it's still gross. Like even in context, you're a fucking loser. But okay, whatever.
And Instagram think the way for that to stop happening is to ban me. I agree it should stop happening, but I don't think banning me is the answer. Because
It's getting comfortable.
there will always be someone else. And there'll be a new hate mob and new out of context videos.
Bro, this is making me happy that he got banned. He's so fucking annoying to listen to.
And this is a problem which is larger than Andrew Tate. This is an internet problem. This is a problem with short format video, short attention spans, nobody looking into anything in detail, things taken out of context. This is a really big problem that the world has to address that goes beyond me. And if I've had to martyr my presence on social media to raise a conversation, which is going to be a net benefit for the world as a whole, then I'm happy with that. I'm happy if people go, you know what, this happened to Andrew Tate, it's now happening to other people. We have to change the way we review censorship, banning, content creation, content proportion, all these things. That's fine.
Nice and
If that's the
chunky
life path
today.
which has been chosen for me. I just want to get clear that I don't like when that happens. I don't want that to happen myself because I don't gain anything from that. On Instagram, absolutely no rules were broken. My captions were just poetry that I wrote. My pictures were just lifestyle. Car, house, boat. I never broke any rules on Instagram. I never had any strikes. I never done anything wrong on Instagram. The only rule infringements on Instagram were my comment section, where hate mobs inspired by
Well,
these.
not for nothing, but like it's also possible that you did actually break the rules, and that this has everything to do with Hustlers University because you did pull that down after you were banned on all your platforms, right? Like you personally, unpromptedly took that down. So maybe you were actually posting like a fucking bullshit scheme, and then Instagram and Facebook were like, yeah, this guy's dangerous. And that's possible.
These videos that we've been discussing, these videos which were deliberately taken out of context and deliberately fictional, hate mobs were inspired at the end of YouTube videos to go to my Instagram and insult me. So the only infringements you would find on Instagram is in my comment section where thousands of people who were sent by random YouTubers who don't like me would come, threaten to kill me, mock my dead father, threaten to kill my brother, threaten to kill my family, threaten to find me. These were the only rule infringements on Instagram. Things written against me by other YouTubers, telling them to go and do it, while all I wrote is poetry. And on repeat, multiple times I said on my stories, if you're going to defend me, do it respectfully. Even if people hate me, even if they're insulting me, don't insult them back. Hate doesn't beat hate. It just creates a brick wall. If somebody says they hate me, explain to them calmly that they don't understand the context. Show them a longer format video. Show them how I stick up for marginalized people. Explain I'm a person of color and I've been marginalized in my childhood. Show them how I had a gay friend when I was a kid. Show them how I stick up for women. Don't just reply saying you're stupid, you don't know the truth. Don't fight hate with hate. I was encouraging all of my followers and all of my fans to be respectful people, even when sticking up for me. Once again, trying to turn negativity into
Why
positivity.
not spend time talking about that in this video then? You talked about your childhood one time where you hit somebody, and then you said that people just made fun of you for being American or sounding American or something. And you never really talked about how you were marginalized as a kid. Why didn't you talk about that? Like, it just, because it sounds like he's just saying these things. Like, this was your whole point. Like, go into detail on it. Yeah, you know, when I was a kid, I had these struggles. You talked about, like, how you, like, hit somebody with a lunchbox. That was it. Like, that's the, and you had a gay friend. You happen to have a gay friend. But nobody really fucked with you or him. And now you're talking about how you're marginalized. Like, why not talk about these things in more detail? This was your opportunity. But for the 40 minutes, you've pretty much just rambled about the same thing, about how you're taking out of context. And it's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. And you love women. This is completely unproductive. This isn't changing anybody's mind. This is rambling. This is mad rambling.
Via social media. My Instagram had no infringements. That was the only policy. That was the only anti-policy things on the page. Things targeted against me. And I didn't really complain to Instagram because I wasn't taught as a person to go complaining to authority. I thought, this is the internet. That's how it works. Just ignore it. Don't worry about it. Soon the truth of your heart and your character will come through. Soon people will see the light and they'll change because that's the way the world is. People often flip-flop on issues. This is how things happen. The redemption arc is going to be beautiful. I really, truly believe that within a few years, people are going to understand that I'm a force for good in the world. And often people say, well, don't have Tate as a male role model. There's better ones. Where are they? There are no other male role models. Because to inspire the youth of men, you need to be aspirational. They have to look at you and want to be like you. And there's no other male role models that have had the tenacity or the aggressiveness to have such a fantastic life as I have, that they're going to listen to me. They listen to me because of my authority, and my authority comes from my life experiences. If my mentality is so wrong, how have I managed to amass enormous wealth? How have I managed to amass huge social status? How have I managed to physically...
Wait, you're just asking me, if your mentality is wrong, how have you gotten rich in status? Okay, so you're the same guy who talks about how government is fundamentally corrupt. A lot of people in government are rich. They're not good people. So just based on what you're saying about the world, you've already proven yourself wrong. How did I get rich and wealthy and famous if I'm such a bad guy? Great. Then all politicians are good people because they have a lot of money. That's it. That's your whole argument. This is the most low IQ fucking perspective ever. How can I be bad if I have money? What? I would say that a lot of people with money are bad. Right? Like that's how the things work. Like, this is insane. This doesn't make any sense. What you're saying is dumb. Like, it's just so fucking stupid. and it's exhausting to talk about this because like you're jerking yourself off talking about how much of a fucking like high intellect individual you are, and you have some of the dumbest fucking takes on like everything. This is ridiculous.
Dominate the planet. I've done things that men respect and they look up to me. So that's why I can lead them. And I understand my messaging should change in light of the fact that I can be taken out of context. But me being alive on the internet will allow me to lead men in a very positive direction. Banning me and deleting me leaves a black hole where they say there'll be another masculine leader. But the men don't listen. The youth of today won't listen to anybody else. That's the reason I'm the most famous man on the planet, because none of these other people have the authority to affect them like I do. It's me or nobody. And I truly believe that me, with reformed messaging, now understanding of my newfound fame, is so much better for the world than nobody. Because nobody just leads to black holes of who knows what, and it can't be controlled. And that's where the internet is truly dangerous. Speaking of Instagram, I was understanding in recent weeks of how these negative fictional stories of me were gaining traction, and I wanted to
maybe people shouldn't be looking to famous figures on the internet as father figures or for father figures. Maybe that's what should be happening. Maybe we should, I mean, like, I guess how do you do it? But maybe we should just be looking for strong male father figures in the real world instead of some rich douchebag that is like the antithesis of what is good in the world. I mean, like, you're not really a family. You pretend to be a family man, but you're a 35-year-old who advocates for people to fuck around 20-year-olds. It's not family oriented. Like, you don't respect women. Like, you're not a good male role model.
try very, very hard to counter them. I put a post on Instagram, which you can see here,
okay,
where I explain that the things I've said have been taken out of context. And just because I champion men's rights does not mean I dislike women.
God, that's not what you're doing, but okay. I've said it like 8 times already. I decided to show what a loving, nice man I am to donate significant funds to charities which support women against domestic violence. Wait, hold on a second. Are you fucking dumb?
Sure. Where I explain that the things I have to try very, very hard to counter them. I put a post on Instagram, which you can see here, where
However, I will also donate significant funds to charities which help men with mental illnesses. I support men and stick up for them. And the haters and liars think this means I hate women. No, we can do both. We need to support. We need blah, blah, blah. So basically what's happening here is Andrew Tate decided to donate a bunch of money to women's causes after he was deplatformed. I don't know how much more of a I don't know if anybody come up with a better argument to how this is a fucking virtue signal than like this happening here. Like, oh yeah, guys, I got banned, so I'm gonna donate money to women. So I'm good now, right? I have millions and millions of dollars. Here's some money for women that doesn't actually impact me or my wallet or paycheck. I'm a good guy. Okay, great, Tate. Thank you so much. This proves you really care about women. Donating money after you got banned and got shit on for hating women because of your hateful ideology towards women. Or you probably don't hate women, but you think that they're less than, obviously. So let's not use the word hating. Hey guys, I'm going to donate money after being disrespectful to women so that you know I actually respect them. By the way, give me all your money. If we're dating and you make money, I should get a lot of that. Because, I own women. And also, I can go on vacations and they can't. I can go on vacations with my friends, but girls can't do that because, I'm fucking weird. Women can't drive. We don't really need to go into the specifics. We're kind of just beating a dead horse at this point.
Explain that the things I've said have been taken out of context. And just because I champion men's rights does not mean I dislike women. I think that men are underrepresented in the world today. And as people often say, men need to speak up. I'm here speaking for the men. I'm here trying to speak up. People are speaking up because of me. We're raising important issues in the world today because of me. Deleting me and blocking me is only going to hurt men as a whole and increase all the problems we see with issues in the world today.
Let's see. Batista. Wow, cool. I'm just reading some of the comments here. Okay. Yeah, of course you're going to see some people who think of you in positive light, but okay.
Me. Deleting me and blocking me is only going to hurt men as a whole and increase all the problems we see with the youth of the men today. So I put a post up and I said, listen, people misunderstand me. I'm going to donate money to a female charity that supports women against domestic violence, and I'm also going to donate money to a charity that supports men's mental health. Just because I support men doesn't mean I hate women. I love people. I'm a person full of love, and I want people as a whole to elevate, not just men or women. I promised $1 to each charity for every like. That's $2 per like total, $1 to each charity. At the time of my banning, I had 550,000 likes or something like that, I believe. And if I hear from Instagram, what I would like them to do is to clarify the final likes amount on that post so that I can stick to my word, because that's what I am. I'm a man of my word.
This stupid motherfucker hasn't even donated the money. He's talking about how he donated all this money to these charities, but he hasn't. He made them contingent on the likes on Instagram, and he still hasn't honored it, and he's gonna wait for them to unban him, but he knows that they're not going to, so he's not actually going to donate money. This guy's such a disingenuous piece of fucking garbage. Holy shit.
Not doing it purely just to post a receipt on social media. I was doing it because I genuinely believe it's a good thing to do. And I would like Instagram to confirm the final amount of likes on that picture.
Also, again, to the whole, like, I mean, he said that nobody cares about women. That speaks out against him. This motherfucker is like, I'll give you money if you like the post. So, like, now he's asking you to signal boost the fuck out of him in his message for the money. You see, like, it doesn't really seem like you were giving this money out of any to be charitable in any perspective. It all seemed like some kind of a cash grab, or like you had to benefit from it in some capacity.
I can donate the $1.3 million that I promised I would donate to both of those charities independently. I would even be happy for Instagram to select the 2 charities and confirm and verify my donation. I'd be very happy to do that because I said I was going to do that. And I'm a man of my word. I stick to
So
my
then
word.
just
What's
do
interesting
it.
to me is when I put that post up, if anybody else had promised to do that, there'd be massive positive attention. But everybody ignored it. Nobody in the media wanted to post about it. None of the YouTubers wanted to talk about it. Nobody wanted to talk about it because it doesn't get clicks. You only get clicks for hating me. You don't get clicks for telling the truth about me. So nobody's interested in telling
Well,
me.
you still haven't followed through, Tate. So, like, what you're saying is, guys, where's my positive attention for not doing a thing yet? Donate. You haven't even donated the money. You admitted it just now. So, like, why would anybody be like, yeah, it's like, if based on the way you've interacted, I would assume that you're full of fucking garbage and you're not actually going to do it. And wow, looks like we're right. But I got banned, so just donate $1 million without needing the fucking likes on Instagram. It sounds like one of those things where this really reminds me of a situation where, like, you're a real piece of shit friend. I can't remember the specifics. And then you're, fuck, I can't give like a really good, I can give you an example, but I'm a little brain fried right now. But you're like the piece of shit friend who like never does a thing for anybody, right? And then so they kind of stop hanging out with you, and then you're like, well, if you just hung out with me, I would have done this for you. But since you don't like me, I guess I'm just not going to do this. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of person that it is. It's like, well, I guess I can't get the money now because I don't have my Instagram anymore. It's like, okay, cool.
Everybody ignored my charitable donations. If anybody else
You didn't donate.
to charity, I'd like to think there'd be some sort of headline.
You didn't
If I went
donate it.
to
You
nobody
didn't
cares.
donate it.
And that's very, very unfair.
You didn't donate
What's
money.
also unfair is the people who say that they care about women and they're worried about misogyny and using this to attack me and try and have me deleted from the internet. They don't donate any money to charity. They
You
don't
probably
help women.
don't know that,
They
but
don't
okay.
want to do anything but spread hate. Right now they hate Andrew Tate. When I'm gone,
Some of them are virtue signaling for sure, but also I'm sure some of them donate and they just don't make it the point to tell everybody that they do because that's what weirdos do. So
they'll find someone else's comment section to go into, insult, threaten their lives, insult their dead parents, hate. They're not going to donate money to charity. They're not going to help women. They're just going to sit there and hate.
and also
women
you
on
have
the
a ton of money, so it's easy to donate when you have a lot of money. A lot of people don't have money. So like when you sit here and talk about and you speak to the problems of the men in the world, even men who disagree with you are still struggling with these issues. They don't have a lot of money. Women too. They don't have a lot of money to donate. A lot of people don't have money to donate because a lot of money is getting siphoned up to the top 1%, right? So this idea that like, oh, well, why aren't you donating? Well, maybe they're just respecting women in their real life, and that's probably helping pretty good amount, right?
and then hate somebody else. This is a hate mob, and they're pretending that they care about women. They don't care about anybody.
Okay.
They're just hateful. And by Instagram allowing the hate mob to be successful, it inspires further hate mobs. It inspires further hate, further division. I understand that Instagram and Meta and Facebook need to, as a whole, keep their fingers on the pulse of the national opinions. I understand that. But once we have confirmed that the national opinion is misunderstood, then we have to sit there and go, do we want to bow to hate mobs, which are accelerating and encouraging people to become more hateful for views and to get people banned via hate? When these people may be actually doing good things for the real issue as a whole, is this a good idea for us to now bow and bend to these people? And this is a really interesting conversation which can be had for many, many hours about the internet, about society, about sociology, about psychology, about so many things. It expands in so many different directions. It's actually very, very interesting. It's an interesting conversation to have because we're living in an unprecedented time of humanity where the world is so connected and we're all kind of unprepared for it, right? It's very, very interesting. I find it super interesting. It's something I've been talking about internally and I would love to talk about more in person. And when I decide to finally come back to public consciousness and do podcasts and that kind of thing, it's something we will be talking about because it's a very, very interesting subject. I'm teaching that it takes tenacity and toughness to become a credible man of merit and value. I think even my hardcore detractors would agree with me. If you're in trouble and you call the police, you want a tenacious, tough man to appear, to help you, to protect you. There's nothing wrong with being a tenacious, ambitious, tough man. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong.
What? I mean, if I call the police, I just want people that can do the job. I don't know. I don't care if a woman shows up as long as they do the job. I mean, what are we calling the police for? Didn't you just tell us not to call the police before? You just told us that you shouldn't be calling the police. That's how you learned. What's the fuck's happening here, Tate?
Wrong with strength, mental and physical. These things are used to protect people, protect men and women. This is a protective state. You can't protect anything if you're not strong. Strength is a beautiful thing. The world is built on the backs of strong men, and I'm trying to teach men to be strong men because it makes the men feel happier inside.
This is
solves
a
men's
fucking
mental health, and it also makes the
advertisement,
world
bro.
a genuinely better place. People are taking my lessons and me trying to teach strength and misconstruing them, saying I'm trying to teach men to be oppressive or aggressive. That's absolutely not the case. And at the same time, they're ignoring my charitable donations to the world. And at the same time, other media creators are rewarded.
Dude, this is an advertisement for his new website or whatever, or his website. This is so fucking stupid.
For purporting lies and spinning lies about me. And then at the same time, the media buys into this. And at the same time, we're in the current situation where this entire storm has appeared, where I've genuinely only been a net positive on the world for anyone who's watched my content in all of its long form. When Instagram tells me and confirms to me the number of likes on that post, I'm going to make the donation. As well as that, the future for me, now that I will be a lot more careful and a lot more selective with the social media I'll be producing, if any at all.
But like, what if they don't? What if they don't confirm the likes on that post? What if they just ignore you and never reinstate you? Are you going to donate the money then, Andrew? Like, this is so fucking stupid.
Be starting a foundation, the Tate Foundation, which is going to be dedicated towards charitable acts of both genders. I have been very, very private about certain elements of my personal life, as has my brother. However, my brother has a daughter.
Okay.
She's beautiful. She's my niece. I don't want her to grow up in a world where women are hated. I don't want her to grow up in a world where men are oppressive and hurting women. Why would I possibly want that? I want her to find a strong man who can protect her, who can provide for her, who can make sure she's safe, but I don't want anything bad to ever happen to her. My own personal circumstances regarding family are something that are once again confidential, but I confirm to you that the last thing I would
It's
ever
like,
want,
yeah, that's good. Like, you should want a strong man to, whatever. Like, have your, niece find a strong man and all that. But, like, wouldn't you want to advocate for a world where your niece doesn't need a strong man to protect her? Because, like, now you're depending solely on a man to protect her rather than, like advocating for her to be strong, giving her the ability to be strong. Doesn't that make more sense if you really cared about her protection? But, like, you just want a guy to protect her. Like, that's the problem with even, like, a lot of what you're saying and the way you think about things.
is for women to be marginalized in the future, for genuine misogyny or sexism to take hold on the planet. I would completely and utterly be very unhappy with that for my own personal reasons. The Tate Foundation is going to be dedicated towards...
I mean, again, you moved to, like, Romania. You moved out of... You didn't like Western society because of the Me Too movement. Like, you didn't like that women were getting more rights. And again, yes, I understand people's weaponized, like, false accusations, but... like, you moved out of a country that was more positive for women because you thought that gets too much in the way of the way you like to interact. It's just weird. Okay.
mental health, and also protecting women from violence against men. You're going to see in the upcoming months and years that I'm not somebody who's doing this just for likes or doing this just for views, that I'm somebody who's doing this because he genuinely has the capability to help people.
And now you're doing it after you got the backlash, so it doesn't come off as genuine.
I believed I was helping people via social media, and if that's going to be taken away from me, then I will continue my philanthropy in other realms.
Cool.
Please, if you want to have more information, you can go to cobratate.com, sign up to the emailing list. And my email
Want
list
more
is
info?
details
Just
all
go
of
to my
charitable acts
website, guys.
I'll be spending millions and millions of dollars on charitable acts for the rest of my human life. God has blessed me with fantastic wealth. It's more money than I will ever personally need. I already was doing my philanthropy through encouraging men. And if that's going to be destroyed, then I've decided
I
to
was
start a
doing my
foundation.
philanthropy through encouraging men. You were taking advantage of young men for money. Like, what are you talking about? That's not encouraging, telling people that they'll spend $50 a month to go to some bullshit fucking Discord on the chance they might make money, which most of them won't. That's not what you're saying at all. You were just amassing as much money as you can so you could disappear. Like, we're probably barely going to hear about you. This is so fucking stupid. Now you just need to run a campaign to make you look better, and that's why you're starting to do this. You weren't actually helping people at all before this. I think the most that you did was you donated money to, like, a dog charity. Woo! That's cool. And, like, Romania. That's great, but, like, doesn't help people. It's just fucking dogs. I really don't give a shit about dogs, to be honest with you. This is stuff... Okay. This is great.
And specifically help with financial aid, women, protection from violence primarily. I'm in Romania, which is very close to Ukraine, and there's a lot of problems there with violence against women and women trying to escape the country. And
There's also that problem in Romania.
men's mental health issues. And this
Wait, hold on a second.
will acts for the rest of my human life. God has blessed me with fantastic wealth.
Okay.
It's more money than I will ever personally need. I already was doing my philanthropy through encouraging men. And if that's going to be destroyed, then I've decided to start the Tate Foundation and specifically help with financial aid, women, protection from violence primarily. I'm in Romania, which is very close to Ukraine, and there's a lot of problems there with violence against women and women trying to escape the country. And men's mental health issues. And this will all be detailed on my newsletter at cobratate.com. And I
Why not women's mental health issues too, though? I don't understand.
encourage people to
Okay,
follow.
whatever.
My other charitable acts are things that I haven't really advertised or talked about. I always felt a bit embarrassed to tell people about the charity I do, because when I do charity, I think it should be from the heart, not for likes. But I understand
But
now
that's
that
what you're doing it for now. Okay.
all of the media is saying I'm a bad guy. And I'm not even telling the world all the good I do, because I don't think that's the right thing to do. I think you should just give from the goodness of your heart, not for attention.
Okay.
But that's unfair for people to be saying I'm a bad person when I run a shelter for dogs in Romania because of the stray dog problem. Because of the fact that I just recently
You've talked about that already. So okay. That's what you're saying. Like, you have talked about that before. We want a date with a girl. we saw that on Cheyenne, I think her name was. So you did use that already as okay. You're just kind of shitting on yourself here.
They rebuilt an entire orphanage because there's an orphanage problem in Romania. There'll be a plaque
that's good.
called the Tate orphanage on this orphanage, and you can see here messages of thanks
Hold on.
because there's an orphanage problem in Romania because of the stray dog problem. But that's because of the fact that I just recently rebuilt an entire orphanage because there's an orphanage problem in Romania. There'll be a plaque called the Tate orphanage on this orphanage, and you can see here messages of
That's awesome that you rebuilt an orphanage in Romania. I think that's great. But like, I just want to be very clear that you said recently, and all of these acts of goodness and kindness are all very recent. It's all now that you're getting extreme heat, and now that you're getting deplatformed, all of a sudden you've done all this good charitable work. It's so convenient. It really is.
thank yous from the children and the woman who's running it.
That's
I did this
awesome for
months
those kids.
Before anybody disliked me. I didn't even tell anybody. I just rebuilt an orphanage and didn't use it for positive PR, didn't try and put it on the internet and get a good spin from it, didn't try to get likes.
Okay, good.
I was just trying to help people. The fact that the only charitable act I've ever advertised was their Instagram post. So I find it very hypocritical when these hate mobs come and say I'm a bad person, when I'm the one who's out here spending his money and time trying to help the world. And all they're doing is telling their followers to insult me on my Instagram.
We have a lot of money.
Which
yeah.
one of those two things has a genuinely positive effect on humanity?
It just kind of sounds like you're using your charity as a way to try to get yourself out of like any criticism at this point. I mean, it's cool that you do charity, but like you're just jerking yourself off about it at this point.
However, I will say again, I do take absolute responsibility because that's who I am as a man. I'm a personal responsibility type of person. And I understand that regardless of the fact I believe it's unfair, I do have a cross to bear because of my monumental success. I've lived an extreme life, more extreme than most. I've been a multimillionaire. I've been a nobody. I've been famous. I've been a world level athlete. I've started from nothing to the point where I had to run to the gym because I didn't even have a car to get there. I've done it all. So I've lived a very extreme life, and this is where these lessons come from. To quickly address the rumors that I'm a sex trafficker and that's why I live in Romania. Firstly, that's a very, very racist attitude to have.
What?
I find it strange that the left
What?
and people who speak and talk about tolerance and
What?
inclusivity will assume that Romania as a country will allow me to be a rapist, or that Romania is the kind of place where rape is okay. That's
Okay, so it's not racist. You'd actually be xenophobic. I know that you're, whatever. Second of all, the reason people say that is because you said that you left like Western countries to escape the Me Too movement. And then when you went to Romania, you had the police called on you because like one girl said she was trapped there. Now it seems like you had the whole narrative that like the boyfriend called because he found out she was there because of a live stream. But then there was another girl that was there whose mother was worried about her. And we never talk about that or reference that. So right now you're just weaponizing racism. Like you're just playing like bullshit id poll games. Like you're being fucking stupid. Nobody like just you're being stupid. And then on top of that, you even on your website before you removed it talked about how like, oh guys, I used to get women to fall in love with me and then I would make them do webcam shows. Yeah, so that sounds really suspicious. And then you remove that. So nobody's being racist. You're a fucking moron. You're like so fucking stupid. This is pathetic.
extremely racist mentality to have. Imagine
You're
someone saying
an
that the other way
idiot.
around, that in this country, because it's run by these people, they're inherently bad.
You're
That's
dumb.
very unfair on
You're
Romania.
so dumb.
Romania's been very good to me. It's a great country. Filled
You're a
with fantastic
fucking
people,
moron.
Amazing nature, great food. It's a great place. I live here because I love it. There's no other reason why I live here. They're a European Union nation. They have a strong legal system, just like every other country. And to sit here and say that, oh, Romania is where you can...
You said the reason you wanted to go to Romania is so that when you got pulled over, that you could give people money to let you keep going. What are you talking about? There's a whole video, I watched it, where you talk about one of the reasons you moved to Romania was because you don't like it that in Western countries, rich people can get away with something, like the government can get away with some things because they're the government, but like other rich people can't necessarily do that. So you moved to Romania, and one of the factors was because you wanted to be able to give people money if you did something like speeding. You wanted corruption to be accessible to everybody if they had money, not just to some people. What are you talking about? You're a fucking idiot. This is like the most baby brain fucking dumb bullshit ever. You're fucking, this guy, he's such a lying piece of shit.
people. That's very racist, and I don't understand
You're
why nobody's
fucking
pointing out the
so
fact that anyone
dumb.
who's saying that and believes that is
Nobody's being
performing racial
racist.
stereotypes.
They're
That's the
not.
first thing.
Nobody is.
The second thing
You're
is
an
my
idiot.
house was raided by police under accusations that a woman was being held kidnapped. I have spoke about this at length many, many times. I was effectively swatted. I think this happens to all famous people on the internet, where the police is called, happens especially in America,
Okay.
call the police and say, somebody has got a gun at this address and he's threatening to kill somebody. And the SWAT turn up and it turns out it's fake. It happened to Tim Pool repeatedly, it happened to Aiden Ross just the other day. Being swatted is unfortunately one of the things that happens when you're famous on the internet.
Whatever troll did it, you did it. You officially did it.
Well, we got swatted yesterday. It's so upsetting.
Just right after my mom arrived.
I was swatted. Someone made a call about me which was fake. The police responded, as they should. I would hate to live in a country where the police get a call that a woman's being held kidnapped and they don't bother going to look. That's not what a country should do. Absolutely, the Romanian authorities were exceptionally professional. I have nothing but positive things to say about them. They turned up professionally, turned up and investigated as they should. And they found out that it was completely false, that nobody was kidnapped, nobody was held against their will. I was not charged. I was not released on bail. I have no criminal charges in Romania, England, America, any country on the planet. I have no accusations against me for hurting women. And people are still on the internet saying, he's a human trafficker. The Romanian police are trying to get him in trouble for human trafficking. That's not true.
Listen, it's fair that like they didn't do anything about it, and so maybe there wasn't anything going on. But still, like we've referenced 2 women at this point, and like you've never spoken about the second one, right? We've only spoken about the first one. So like, yeah, you know what we have to say, because the like Romanian police didn't find anything. Like, yeah, sure, he's probably, we'll say he's innocent, right? But like I don't know, it's such a weird red flag where like you said that you moved to Romania, and one of the reasons is so that you can pay people off, and now you're just trying to tell us that, like that's not possible. Like why wouldn't we think that? Why wouldn't there be like that in our mind? You're saying that. Like, what did you say it for? Why would you tell people that one of the reasons you moved from Romania was so you can buy police off in some capacity? You said over a speeding ticket, but then let's not go like, what if he did the same thing here? He's got a lot of money. Why wouldn't he do it? Like, I don't know. Like, this is making you look worse. This is fucking insane.
That's not what happened. And I've said this many times, but people continue to ignore it and continue to report the lie, because that's how the internet works, right? They continue to just keep pushing the lie because it gets more clicks, or because they personally don't like me and they want to use it as an excuse to pretend I'm a bad person. I can sit here and be vain and arrogant and say they're jealous of me and my success and they want to find a way to drag me down, but that's beside the point. The actual point is, it's not true. And I was swatted just like anyone else was. And if I had actually hurt anybody, the Romanian police...
Well, no, most people who are swatted, there's like nothing underlying there. But like like you even said that like you weren't really swatted, right? Like the girl called the police herself, or the boyfriend called the police. That's what you had said yourself. Now that I'm putting the pieces together, I don't know. Now I'm leaning more towards like, yeah, you might have actually done that. I mean, like, obviously the police said you didn't, but, like, again, where you talk about how you moved there so that you can take advantage of a corrupt government by paying people off, a lot of the pieces are starting to like, kind of go together for me, you know? Maybe it was a good thing you were banned. Like, nobody lost anything, so...
would have me in jail, because they are a nation, a European Union nation, with a strong legal system, and they would lock me up. They have not done that, because I am completely and utterly innocent. They investigated as they should, and came to the correct conclusion that there's nobody here, and this was a false call, a false alarm. It happens to lots of famous people. It happens all the time.
I love how he's leaning on, like, oh, it's a European Union nation. Like, you talk about how government is corrupt in Western countries. So if the government is corrupt in Western countries, why would we, and you say that, why would we assume that they just aren't here? Like, magically, the Romanian government is perfect and does everything perfectly.
The call about me threw in, instead of saying, I kind of think, when I analyze it, the people who make these police calls, right? The people who do the swatting, it's kind of country specific. In America, they make a call to the police and they say, he has a gun, he has hostages. They can't really say that in Romania because it's very, very unlikely. It's not likely to be taken seriously. So instead, they try and find something the police might believe. Oh, he's an American guy and he has this big house and he has a bunch of women trapped. It's a different story, but it's the same intention, for the police to turn up with guns.
Wait, but you said the original story was that you were on a live stream and the boyfriend called. So now, like, you're not even being consistent with your original argument here. Why so many different, like, lies?
And thankfully, thank God, nobody was shot, nobody was hurt. They were very professional, very calm, as was I. Very calm conversations, very kind. Everything was sorted out very quickly. I was taken from my house. They came into my house at 5 p.m. They did a forensic search, as they should. At 8 p.m., the search concluded. They took me from my house at 8 p.m. for paperwork at the police station, and by 9:21, I was back home. And that was the end of it. Nothing's happened since. No woman's come forward. Nobody's hurt. Nothing. So that's completely false.
Didn't Andrew Tate also talk about how he used to, like, launder money or something for like a fucking like mob in Romania? I'm pretty sure he's talked about that. I think that was in the Turkey Tom video, Turkey Thomas video. So like, wouldn't that be like you said it? Unless I was just joking, but you said that you know fucking gangsters and shit. So like that just leads even more into the idea that like nobody. Why would they come forward when they can get fucking killed potentially? Like maybe you're just jerking it off and like it's not actually true, but you keep talking about this kind of shit. So like. What the fuck is this? Is so stupid.
But again, this is taken, it's put in all the news, it's put in all the media. Imagine I was a normal person with a normal job. This should be scary to anybody watching this, that this could happen to you. I'm lucky. I have hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't need a job.
Well, it probably wouldn't have happened to you if you were just a normal person.
People to like me. I don't need social media. I don't need any of this. I can have my beautiful family. I can have my children, and I can be left alone. But if you're a normal person, you lose your job. You lose your income. You can't walk the street. You can't afford security. You can't afford to move. If this happened to a normal person, their life would be over.
Yeah, for sure. But like, it's not going to happen to them in this way, right? Because they're a normal person. They're not a celebrity. This is incredibly sketchy.
Scary. Okay, it's happened to me and I can deal with it. But it could happen to somebody else. And it's genuinely a scary thought. It's absolutely not really not true. I have no criminal charges. There's no charges at all against me.
Okay.
I have not hurt any women. No women are coming forward saying Andrew hit me. Zero. The only video of me and a woman in consensual acts, she came forward and said it was a game. There's nothing on the internet from any woman saying that Andrew is a bad person and misogynist, he did this to me. Not one. It's just misunderstood clips on TikTok. It's crazy to me that I've become the face of evil with misunderstood, out of context clips on TikTok with no criminal charges, There are very famous people who have much more. They have genuine criminal charges. There's very famous people who have genuine accusations. They're still on Instagram. I have none of these things. None. I understand that social media companies feel responsible for the national consciousness and the national opinions and actions because of their large levels of influence. However, I don't think it's fair that I'm being vilified and blamed for something that isn't true or wasn't even me. I need to seriously analyze if it's possible for me to even have a social media presence for any longer without it being weaponized and used against me. I would like to think that Instagram have their finger on the pulse of the world and that they're reactive and adaptive regarding how people view certain issues and people. I'd like to think that they're very fair and unbiased and that they understand that in time, when the truth is shown about my positivity and my positive impact on the world, the Tate Foundation, all the amazing things we're going to be doing for men and women.
Don't you love how this is like a self-report? He's like, I hope that in time they'll see that I do a lot of good stuff and so they'll reinstate me. It just screams, I'm only doing charity so that you'll give me my platform back. Do you see how fucking dumb this is? It's just like some weird appeal to that. It's like, maybe if I'm like a really good guy, they'll give my Instagram, my Facebook back and they'll let me back on social media if I'm not such a bad guy. It's kind of pathetic. Right? It's like one of the 7 stages of grief or whatever. What is it called? The stages of grief or acceptance or whatever. Or I don't know. But like it's like acceptance, denial, et cetera, et cetera. Bargaining. We're in the bargaining phase.
Over time, they'll understand that there's no reason for me to not be on a platform. I understand that if I'm going to continue on social media, I need to be a lot more careful with my content. Not because I'm saying bad things, but because I'm saying things that could be used against me. I want to dedicate this YouTube channel, any other remaining social medias I have, my email list, and my Instagram at some point in the future, to the Tate Foundation, and speak purely about the positivity I'm doing for the world, because in the meantime, and at least for the next few months or years, it's going to be very difficult to talk bad about me when people only see the money I'm donating and how I'm helping people. And I don't just give money in a very lazy, charitable way. I get up in my car, I go on the ground, I help people myself.
I drove my Rolls Royce to Ukraine. I bought hundreds of coats and shoes for women and children fleeing the conflict. I didn't film the refugees. I hate when people do that.
So we'll be documenting that.
So we'll be documenting that. Oh my God, dude, this doesn't look good for you. It looks like you're just doing these things now that you got caught. Yeah, you know, I go and buy clothes myself. I went to the local Goodwill and bought like $100 worth of clothes. Wow, that's awesome, bro. I showed him my Bugatti, and I gave all these refugees all this stuff. I could have sold my Bugatti and housed them, but instead I went to the local, whatever, and I bought some clothing, and then I filmed it so that you guys know I'm a good guy. Because that's how the world works.
I think that's a good way for people to start to learn about the truth. I'm really relieved this happened. I feel good. I feel happy. I don't think I could have got everybody's attention without this. I don't think I would have had a chance to make a clean break and a clean start and explain the truth of my character and my heart without this. I think that
you still haven't done that. You've been just rambling like a fucking child for an hour.
I would have keep trying to tell the truth, and my haters would have kept ignoring it and kept making negative videos about me, and it would have spiraled out of control until someone in my family was hurt or an attempt was made on my life. Any of my serious fans who have watched all my content know that I've had attempts on my life before, way before YouTube, 10 or 15 years ago. Okay. It's something I intimately understand, life and death. And it's not something I wish to revisit. I feel the hate around me was being accelerated to a point of danger for myself and my loved ones. So I'm very glad this happened because I feel like I now have a chance to tell the truth. And I also feel like the social media companies are very understanding of their responsibilities and will always reflect national consciousness. And as people understand the truth about me and my heart, their opinions about me will change also.
Okay.
You know, the Bible is full of redemption stories.
Cool.
So are superhero movies, right? The guy starts off bad and then turns good. Or the guy that you think is a bad guy turns out to be a good guy with good intentions all along. He was just misunderstood. I feel like the human psyche is very intrinsically understanding of these narratives and stories. Okay. I think people understand a redemption arc. They can understand when they retrospectively look back on certain events or actions or words, and with their new understanding of his actual intentions, everything looks different. They look back and go, oh, now I know who he truly is. I understand what he meant by that. Now I know who he truly is. I understand why that was said.
Jesus Christ.
And everything changes. I truly believe that this is a chance for me to move my social media purely to my charitable acts. Even if my Instagram is reinstated, it's only going to be about the Tate Foundation. There'll be no pictures of Bugattis anymore. Sorry, gentlemen. And it allows me to conduct my philanthropy in the physical world as opposed to so much in the digital world trying to inspire men. It's an avenue change. It's a life path change that God has chosen for me. And I'm happy with that. I really am not the type of person to take these things personally. I don't take any of these decisions personally. I'm a very logical man. I'm very good at seeing both sides of the argument. I understand the situation I'm in intimately. I completely understand all points of view. And
no, but okay.
This redemption arc, this chance to tell the world the truth about me and focus on showing the good that I have already been doing before these bans, when I didn't want likes, when I didn't want clicks, and also undoing all the negative narratives which I've allowed to spiral out of control because I trusted in people to do their own research and come to their own truthful conclusions. I realize now that this is a fantastic chance for me. It's a massive opportunity. I'm still going to tell the truth about who I am, about what I believe, about how I believe a man should act. I'm still going to tell people and inspire people to stay away from low-quality people.
If you're struggling to find quality men to be friends with, maybe you're not quality man. Every relationship in the world, including friendships, are mutual. Because if you're a quality person, you meet quality people. Male and female, that's how it goes.
I never would only talk negatively about women. I talk negatively about men all the time. I told people, don't have friends who just smoke drugs and play video games. You need friends who are going to inspire you to push yourself.
That's not speaking negatively about men, by the way. That's speaking negatively about bad characteristics that a man might have. This is one of the problems, right? So like when you say like, hey, don't do drugs or don't hang out with guys that do drugs or play video games, that's not speaking negatively on men. That's speaking negatively on habits that some people have. When you sit down and you say things like women are horrible drivers, even though statistically they're better drivers than men, that's just being negative to women, right? You understand that these are different things. Being negative to people this is not the same thing. Right? This is not the same thing. Shitting on a woman because she talks about how she wants to become a fucking doctor. And you're like, no, you need to go and have kids. Blah, blah, blah. What is it going to matter? You just want to party more. That's speaking negatively about women because you're shitting on a woman for wanting to have a career. You're an idiot.
Be the best man you can. I'm a massive anti-drug advocate. The worst experiences in my life revolved around other people either taking or selling drugs and trying to hurt me because of it. I've never taken drugs in my life. I've never even tried cocaine. Never tried a single smoke of weed in my life ever.
Cool.
I'm massively anti-drugs. But when I do videos saying to men, avoid men who take drugs, avoid men who are disloyal, nobody comments on it. But if I say avoid having a girlfriend who takes drugs, avoid having a girlfriend who's disloyal, people call me a misogynist.
Nobody's ever said that. Shut, you're so dumb. I've never seen a single criticism. Oh, but when I say women shouldn't take drugs, nobody's criticizing you for that. Shut up. That is the farthest thing from criticism. What are you talking about? You're rambling.
It's not about gender. I'm just trying to teach people to stay away from low-quality, toxic people and just try and elevate
stay away from yourself then.
To be around high-quality people and positive people, male or female. There's no gender associated. It's only the fact that the media, these people chopping my videos up, whoever they are, taking it out of context and only focusing on the times women were mentioned, which is a very small percentage, 2 or 3% of my overall content, and ignoring all the time I said the exact same thing about men or the times I loved women, and purporting this view. And I feel like this ban is a hard reset I needed to tell the truth. So for that, I'm thankful. I'm very, very thankful for that. What's next for Top G? Well, as I've said, I have built my dream life. I have everything I've ever wanted. I've done that with the tenets that I've been teaching the people who follow me. I've been teaching you the mental fortitude you need to truly have your dream life. I was talking to Aiden Ross on his stream, and he said, have you completed the game? And I guess in a way I have.
And do you feel like you've beaten the game?
Oh, no, I've hacked the Matrix and completely beaten the games. I have everything I've ever wanted. I don't need anything else. All that's left for me to do is have a positive impact on the world.
Well,
I
you
don't
haven't
think
done that,
anybody truly wants to go down as a villain. Maybe some people do. I don't. I wasn't raised that way. I was raised to stick up for myself, to be strong, to be commanding, but I was raised to do the right thing. And that's why, as I stated, I have no criminal record. I stay away from drugs. There's a lot of people on social media with large criminal records who advocate drug use. I think that's far more dangerous for society than me. And once again, they have absolute exposure to the world. I want to run the Tate Foundation, and I would love to do it without any social media. I will be detailing on my email list all of my charitable donations, all of the orphanages I'll be building, pictures, financial evidence, receipts. Please go to covertate.com and sign up to the newsletter. It's free, and I'll be letting people know the positive impact I'm going to be having on the world.
Oh my God. Okay. All right.
The fame I've amassed has also managed to help me amass hundreds of millions of dollars.
Cool.
And I don't need all of it. So I'm going to use it for positive causes.
Cool.
In regards to social media, I need to sit and think and work out a way that not a single snippet of my words can ever be used against me. And even though I consider myself a wordsmith, that is a very, very difficult objective to complete. And I'm going to think about how I could possibly do that. So while I'm thinking, any remaining social media channels will be dedicated towards charity. If I start a new Instagram, it's only going to be dedicated towards the charitable side of the Tate Foundation. I hold no ill will against any social media platforms. I hold no ill will against any of the people who hate me or who have tried to spread lies about me. I truly pray for you all. I think that to be a person filled with so much hate that you think making videos insulting a man and encouraging your viewers to go and insult him and his deceased father and his family members, I think that is a
Who did that? I'm just curious because I've never seen anybody do that.
horrible way to live.
Like specifically about his deceased father. Like who said that? I'm just curious.
I would never want to experience that level of hate in my heart. The people who are making endless videos celebrating my ban or talking hate about me, that hate is never going to satisfy you. You need to learn to let go and live with a heart filled with love. You need to be content with yourself, because if you're obsessed with trying to hate on another person, The poison's inside of you. It's not inside of me. It doesn't affect me as much as it affects you. You can't feel hatred for somebody without it affecting your mood. So this is something for you guys to address, and I genuinely pray for you. I have no ill will against any of my haters. I have no ill will against any social media companies. I have no ill will against anybody. To follow me and keep up with me, please sign up to the newsletter on CobraTake.com. Anybody who would like to send me a message of support, I've already had hundreds of thousands.
I wonder if you sign up for that newsletter, if you're going to get advertisements to give him money or buy other things from him. I totally wonder.
Thank you guys so much. It's very reassuring to me in time.
This whole video reads as like a plug for some other websites so he can still generate revenue. Like, that just seems to be what it is more than anything else. This is fucking insane.
Times like this to hear from all of you, letting me know that I saved you from depression.
Like, guys, I'm such a good guy. By the way, sign up to my website 500 times.
Helps you feel better about yourselves. I'm the reason your marriage is working. I inspired you to send your son to the gym. I love hearing these things. And you can send me an email at the email address below, tate@CobraTake.com. Please send it to me. I really love hearing these things. And knowing I had such a positive impact on the world is what's allowed me to ignore so much of this hate storm that's been purported. My social media presence is something that, if it remains, will be curated in a way that it's nearly impossible to be seen as a negative for the world.
I know you keep saying
I'm
that
a force for positivity
over and over and over again.
This is the truth of my nature and the truth of my name. Anybody who wants to comment or to reach out to me, you can find ways to do that. Any media organizations who would like to speak to me, you can do that through there's various PR companies who want to represent me. They'll be.
I thought you said that there was like 100 of them that wanted to talk to you already. So why would they need to reach out to you further?
Ways of contacting me. But I just want the world to know, in my final statement, that if you're a supporter of mine, and I know most of you are, please explain the truth in a respectful manner. Telling these hate-filled people that they're wrong and calling them names won't help. These people are not happy people, because happy people don't act that way.
Sure.
Tell them the truth. Show them that the content is out of context. Show them the long format content.
They're really
Say all the
not
ways
that out of context. But okay.
And I really believe by being a genuinely professional, logical, positive person, you guys can change public consciousness for me. And time is a beautiful thing. It's amazing how things change with time.
Okay.
And in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy my fantastic life, which I've managed to build with all of the tenacity and mental strength that I try and teach my fans. You know how to reach
Hurry
me.
up.
And I'll finish with a quote from my late father.
Cool.
My unmatched perspicacity, coupled with sheer indefatigability, makes me a feared opponent in any realm of human endeavor.
Are you trying to keep up being like as viral as you are forever? Or not forever, but like for...
This is stage one of a 3-step plan. So I'm going to be viral for a little bit longer, then step 2 begins. The conquest is continuing.
So this is just the beginning. Because like a lot of people will say like you're going to fall off soon. This is just your 15 minutes.
No problem.
What's your take on that?
That's fine.
That was fucking horrible. What a boring, dumb fucking video. Bro, that was horrible. Okay, whatever. Go sign up. Hey guys, go fuck ourselves by signing up for CobraTate.com. That was pretty much what this video is. It was a fucking pity party. And sign up for my other website because I need you to stay with me as I move on this journey of trying to siphon more money out of the fucking, frustrated young men who are looking for success.